of the camera. If you succeed, you will get your reward.
Mr. Mars, can you confirm that your son has disappeared? Do you think your son is still alive?
Do they think it's the origami killer?
It is a possibility.
My name is Scott Shelby. I'm a private detective. I'm investigating the case of the origami killer.
I'm Madison Page. I'm a journalist. I suppose I like to play the guardian angel.
Agent Norman Jaden, FBI. Tell me what you know.
Ethan Mars has had psychological problems since his first son died. Feels responsible for his death. After one of our usual sessions, I found this on the floor. It must have fallen out of his pocket.
It looks like we got our origami killer.
I want every available man to find Ethan Mars. If he moves, we know about it.
Is it true? Are you the killer, Ethan?
The killer is walking around free as we speak.
Ethan Mars is innocent. I can prove it.
Peggy 16.
Ever since I was born, I've been linked to an entity. His name is Aiden, and he's always with me.
My name is Nathan Dawkins. Your mother tells me you have an invisible friend. Did he do that to you?
No, that was the monsters.
The agency wants you to join their military school program.
Training starts tomorrow at 5 a.m.
They know what you and Aiden can do.
Welcome to the agency.
Something happened last night.
They've opened a passage to Aiden's room? So tired. I don't think I'm gonna make it. They're coming.
Jody, what have you done?
Tell them to leave me the fuck alone, because next time, I'll kill everyone.
Peggy 18.
We are all the result of the choices we've made. Every decision, every word, every silence defines who we are, who we will be, who we could have been. You can choose to live with your head down, stay in line, obey orders, and become who everybody wants you to be. Or you can choose to stand up, fight for what you believe in, and become who you really are. Through our decisions, we write our own story. Now it's time to make my choices, to decide who I will be. My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by Cyberlife. My mission is to stop the deviants. That's what I was designed to be. But what I do now is up to you.
Peggy 18.
Are you prepared to suffer to save your son? You have 5 minutes to cut off the last section of one of your fingers in front of the camera. If you succeed, you will get your reward.
Mr. Mars, can you confirm that your son has disappeared? Do you think your son is still alive?
Do they think it's the origami killer?
It is a possibility.
My name is Scott Shelby. I'm a private detective. I'm investigating the case of the origami killer.
I'm Madison Page. I'm a journalist. I suppose I like to play the guardian angel.
Agent Norman Jaden, FBI. Tell me what you know.
Ethan Mars has had psychological problems since his first son died. Feels responsible for his death. After one of our usual sessions, I found this on the floor. It must have fallen out of his pocket.
It looks like we got our origami killer.
I want every available man to find Ethan Mars. If he moves, we know about it.
Is it true? Are you the killer, Ethan?
The killer is walking around free as we speak.
Ethan Mars is innocent. I can prove it.
Peggy 16.
Ever since I was born, I've been linked to an entity. His name is Aiden, and he's always with me.
My name is Nathan Dawkins. Your mother tells me you have an invisible friend. Did he do that to you?
No, that was the monsters.
The agency wants you to join their military school program.
Training starts tomorrow 5 a.m.
They know what you and Aiden can do.
Welcome to the agency.
Something happened last night.
They've opened a passage to Aiden's room? I'm so tired. I don't think I'm gonna make it. They're coming.
Jody, what have you done?
Tell them to leave me the fuck alone, because next time, I'll kill everyone.
Peggy 18.
We are all the result of the choices we've made. Every decision, every word, every silence defines who we are, who we will be, who we could have been. You can choose to live with your head down, stay in line, obey orders, and become who everybody wants you to be. Or you can choose to stand up, fight for what you believe in, and become who you really are. Through our decisions, we write our own story. Now it's time to make my choices. Decide who I will be. My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by Cyberlife. My mission is to stop the deviants. That's what I was designed to be. But what I do now is up to you.
Peggy 18.
Are you prepared to suffer to save your son? You have 5 minutes to cut off the last section of one of your fingers in front of the camera. If you succeed, you will get your reward.
Mr. Mars, can you confirm that your son has disappeared? Do you think your son is still alive?
Do they think it's the origami killer?
It is a possibility.
My name is Scott Shelby. I'm a private detective. I'm investigating the case of the origami killer.
I'm Madison Page. I'm a journalist. I suppose I like to play the guardian angel.
Agent Jaden, FBI. Tell me what you know.
Ethan Mars has had psychological problems since his first son died. Feels responsible for his death. After one of our usual sessions, I found this on the floor. It must have fallen out of his pocket.
It looks like we got our origami killer.
I want every available man to find Ethan Mars. If he moves, we know about it.
Is it true? Are you the killer, Ethan?
The killer is walking around free as we speak.
Ethan Mars is innocent. I can prove it.
Peggy 16.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first Quantic Stream. Today we are going to be celebrating anniversaries of Heavy Rain, of Detroit Become Human. We have amazing special guests. We have prizes. And who are we, by the way? I'm Erika Ishii.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm Malik Forté. And I don't know about you, Erika, but I'm super excited. I've been such a big fan of Quantic Dream since back in the day, playing Indigo Prophecy, or what many know as Fahrenheit. I've been a fan since then, so it's super honor to be here right now.
I would say that the Quantic Dream games have been a huge part of my community, playing through Heavy Rain and Detroit with my community. I got to meet some dear friends and D&D buddies, Brian and Amelia, through it. It's fantastic, and we have a lot of really great stuff for you today.
Yeah, indeed. That's so true. That's so true. I've done so much bonding playing Quantic Dream games, playing through Heavy Rain with my mother. It helped get her into video games, essentially. So much love for these guys. But we got a lot of stuff on the agenda. I do want to say hello to everybody who may be watching this on Facebook, YouTube, and for everybody who's watching on Twitch. So feel free to comment using the hashtag Quantic Dream. We're going to be here all day. And if you guys are on Facebook or YouTube, come on over here to Twitch where it's at and throw some pog in the chat for us, because there's some benefits to being on the Twitch channel for sure.
Yeah, later on, we're going to be doing some community play for Detroit Become Human, and you can interact directly with that if you're on Twitch. And if you're on Twitch, you're eligible for the giveaway that we have, which is we have 3 games for you: Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, and Beyond Two Souls. They're going to be signed by the developers, and we're going to be giving those away at the end of the stream on Twitch if you're following.
Right. So if you follow or subscribe to the channel, you can do it. And keep this in mind too, entry is limited to 1 Twitch account per person. So don't do the thing where you try to get on multiple accounts or anything like that. We're going to select 3 winners, as Erika said. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I just want to remind everybody too that we are doing this all from home. We're all at home. So bear with us. There's going to be a lot of people who you're going to see on the screen. We're going to try to make this thing as dynamic as possible, though, and put a lot of familiar faces in front for you guys to see, to talk to, and interact with. So, yeah, super excited to get this going. But Erika and I won't be your only tour guides for this Quantic Stream. We won't. We have 2 marvelous people who will be with us through most of the stream today. So without any further ado, I say we go ahead and bring them out. What do you say, Erika? Should we bring them out?
Hey, guys!
Hi, everyone. Hello.
CEO, writer, and game director David Cage, and co-CEO and head of publishing Guillaume de Vondermeer joining us right now. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. It's going great. Thank you. Hello, Erika. Hello, Malik. And hello, everyone who's watching us live. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi, everyone.
Real quick, I want to say hello to the Descartes Games community. Hi, everybody. Hello, Deviants. It's very good to see you. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, David, what can we expect today?
Oh my God. First of all, I would like to say it's a real pleasure for me to be here on this first live show. We wanted to do something like this for a long time, just find a way to spend some time with the fans and just find a way to thank them for their incredible support over the past years. And what a better opportunity than today, which is the 10th anniversary of Heavy Rain. Believe it or not, it was 10 years ago already. And most of all, 2 years anniversary of Detroit Become Human, because exactly 2 years, on May 25th, 2 years ago, we released this game. So all day we received messages from fans and images and very nice messages and comments. So it was a pleasure just to see how positive and supporting this incredible community is. So back to what we're doing today, we'll have special guests, as you said, we will have updates and news, we'll have tons of surprises, we'll have gifts, and I hope we'll have a lot of fun, although, as you said, we are all from home today. I would like to say, last thing, that we will have such live sessions on a regular basis from now. So we will just have more moments like this with special guests and surprises. And we just want to open the doors to Quantic Dream to all the fans and make everyone feel a part of the team, basically.
Indeed. Yes. Thank you very much, David, for that. And Guillaume, I want to go ahead and get you in here too, man. A lot of people speculating about what's going to happen on the stream. Could you give everybody a clear expectation for what's going to happen today?
Well, just to set expectations right, we're not going to announce our next game, tonight, but we have some very exciting news to share. And there are special guests coming up, so join us on Twitch and stay tuned until the end.
All right. Thank you very much. And okay, one more reminder for everybody. We are going to be transitioning a lot, and we are doing this from home. So definitely stick with us. But with that, I think it's time for us to jump into a little bit of an update on what's been going on at Quantic Dream. Erika, I'll let you take this away.
So David, the last time we spoke, we were at Comic-Con, but there have been a lot of events all over the world that you've gotten to travel to this past year with Quantic Dream.
Oh yeah, I would say that the past 2 years have been incredibly exciting for the studio. We've really done a lot. We traveled a lot, but most of all, in the past 2 years, Quantic became independent and cross-platforms. We were used to work for a long time as purely developers for 23 years on one platform for the past 12 years, and now these things have changed. We have released our games on PC for the first time. We became publishers. Also publishing our own titles, but also publishing third-party titles and helping indie developers to reach the market with their titles. And last but not least, we also work on very exciting new projects. We remain game creators, of course, and we work on many exciting new projects. We cannot talk about it yet, but there's a lot going on at the studio. And yes, we've been traveling a lot. We've been to Musée Grévin last year, where Detroit entered the museum for the first time, and we have a dedicated space with a beautiful statue of Kiara and another one of Connor. And it's pretty rare for a video game to enter a museum, so we are really proud of this. And we had a great evening with opening ceremony with Brian, Amelia, and many people over there. And then we were to San Diego at the Comic-Con, where we had a fantastic event with Brian Deckard, Amelia Rose Blair, Jesse Williams, and Pascal Langdale, where we had a conference and we talked about shooting these games and what it meant to the actors, the challenges as a director, etc. So we really had a great time there, meeting fans and meeting so many Connors. I couldn't count them, and there were so many of them, all looking great and meeting fans. Then we traveled to Tokyo for the Tokyo Game Show at the end of the year, where Detroit won an Excellence Award. Which is something we're really proud of. I mean, we love Japan. We have a lot of friends and fans over there. So getting an award in this country is always something very special for game creators. But also we met our fans. It was an incredible moment. We met them doing cosplay at the Tokyo Game Show, where we met so many Kiara and Connor and Hank and Sumo and all the characters of Detroit were there. So we had a great time. We had an evening together where we could spend some time with the fans and answer all the questions. And they had so many questions. They wanted to know so many things about Detroit. Sometimes I didn't even have the answer, but I did my best to answer. And last but not least, we had a great conference at the Museum of Science in Tokyo, the Mirakain, which is the Museum of Science and Artificial Intelligence, where we had a very interesting conference. Well, it was interesting for me. I hope it was for the audience too, with 2 AI specialists working for Square Enix on Final Fantasy 15. And we talked about the future of technology and how AI is going to change our world. So we traveled a lot over the past 2 years, and that's a good thing because who knows when we're going to travel next. So we really enjoyed that. It was a pleasure to go and meet our fans around the world.
That is so cool, and a testament to why there's such a strong fan base for Quantic Dream. Seeing you guys out at those events, interfacing with the fans, is so cool. It's so cool. But you mentioned a little bit about you guys publishing projects, and I want to talk to you, Guillaume, just a little bit about that. What are you guys' plans as far as working with third-party studios? Could you divulge a little bit more information on that?
Well, as David said, we decided to become our own publisher and to fully integrate this function within our studio moving forward. We've assembled a team of highly passionate and experienced people who have been hard at work since a year to release Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human on PC. And in the future, all our games will be published by this team. And this is, of course, very exciting for all of us. We're also meeting with a great number of highly talented independent studios. We want to support the vision through our experience, but also by offering some artistic and technical means when necessary. So we'll tell you more about these studios and the third-party titles we will be publishing in the future during one of our upcoming Quantic streams. It's a little bit too early to talk about this today. And lastly, I do need to mention that we renovated and expanded our studio over the past year quite a lot. We have now a much more larger space to work. We have a new mocap stage, a new sound studio, and also a large area dedicated to just relaxing and sharing good times together as a team.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool. I think, can you guys hear Erika? Can you guys hear her?
No, we can't.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Here you are.
I'm
Hit that
an
mute
indie games
button.
fan. Yeah. Again, we're live, everybody. Happy Quantic Dream. But I'm a huge indie games fan, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all support and bring out into the world as Quantic Dream third-party games. It's almost it's unfortunate that you have this amazing, great expanded studio, but for right now, you're all safely at home. David, can you show us a little bit about what the devs are up to?
Well, yeah, we work in remote work since early March. Very early on, we decided to switch to home work in order to protect our employees. And it's a challenge for any company, to work from home. There are technical challenges, of course, because we have very powerful computers at the studio. So when you have people working from home, you need to have, virtual machines for them ready so they can work pretty much in the same conditions. They need to access the servers, etc., etc. So it's been quite a challenge. And as you can see them, I mean, some of them seem to have a lot of fun. But I would say the biggest challenge for us is really to maintain the link between people and make sure that although they are isolated, working from home, we remain a team and we are all in contact every day. So we spent a lot of time in meetings every day, probably more time in meetings than we were used to at the studio, because when you're at the studio, you can talk at the coffee machine, you can talk over lunch, you can talk, in different moments, where here we're working from home, you can only work when you have meetings. So it's definitely a challenge. It's very interesting. Everybody's working. We never stop the studio. Everybody worked all the time. And I think although it's a challenge, we learned a lot in this phase. And I think the studio will be stronger after this because we all learned a lot.
Yeah, you guys are really showing how agile you are, being able to adjust during this climate. And everybody looks so cozy, so I'm definitely glad everyone's staying safe, working from the comfort of their home. And something else I saw a little bit in those pictures, but especially when we come back to this Fort box, I see some really cool Quantic Dream merch. David, you're wearing the hat. Guillaume, you have the hat in the background. I think the logo's slick. So I got to know, what's up with the merch store? How can I get a hold of some of this stuff? Guillaume.
Yes. We're definitely really excited tonight also because we are opening our eShop. So it offers a variety of really cool QD and game-inspired gear, as well as physical editions of our games. So our eShop will be regularly updated, and so you should definitely check back regularly. I've just brought my wonderful new cap here. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I want it.
And we're also finishing a fantastic PC collector's edition of Detroit Become Human. I won't reveal everything that the collector's edition will include tonight, but I'm happy to say it will feature a large-scale Kara statue with mechanical arms. So that's exactly the one that was featured in our Kara short. So you can look forward to that. Due to COVID, though, we had unfortunately to restrict deliveries for now to the European Union, but we should be able to make deliveries available worldwide when this situation will be resolved, hopefully very fast. So the eShop is open. Go check it out.
All right.
Great. Well, chat is going absolutely bonkers for all the merch, and that's available right now. Everybody, yeah. So I'm sorry, chat's just blowing up with it.
Indeed. Yeah, they're going crazy. Do we want to ask any of these extra questions, or should we keep it moving, Erika? What do you think?
I think let's keep moving because we're going to get to some of those questions later, and we're going to answer them in some very interesting ways. So yeah, I say we celebrate Heavy Rain.
All right, let's do it. So guys, it seemed like it was only yesterday that I was making the tough decision to cut off the edge of my finger for my son. I'm talking about Heavy Rain for those of you who don't know. But that was actually a decade ago, and we're celebrating the 10th year anniversary of Heavy Rain, starting with a little trailer right here.
Peggy 18.
We got our origami killer.
I want every available man to finding Ethan Mars.
Ethan Mars is innocent. I can prove it.
Woo. Oh my goodness. All right. Man, it makes my finger hurt just looking at that trailer.
I know, I feel like I'm having flashbacks. Without spoiling too much, did you get a good ending? Because I got like a perfect ending, pretty much.
Ish. I got an ish good ending. There were some characters that made it and some that didn't, and I was a little bummed out about the ones that didn't. So I will say ish, but for the most part, I'll say Ethan Mars was happy at the end of my game. So
right, okay, that's all that counts.
Yeah. That's all that counts. All right. Well, as you guys can see, we got a lot more coming up later today. We're going to be jumping into some Detroit Become Human talk. We have a community play that's going to be happening later too with some special guests. And of course, we're going to end the day with a special giveaway. You're going to want to follow or be subscribed to the Twitch channel if you want a chance at winning. So make sure you do that right now. But why don't we go ahead and keep it moving? Me and Erika will be here. We're going to welcome David back and Guillaume as well. And we have a special guest. You guys might know him as the voice of Ethan Mars. Everybody give it up for Pascal Langdale, who's joining us. How's it going, Pascal? How you doing, man?
Oh.
I think you're muted.
It's okay because Pascal, as a master of motion capture, is incredible at conveying everything through just movement.
Yeah.
Pascal doesn't need sound. I mean, just the face is enough.
Not at all. Now, can you hear me now? Is that good?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Oh, thank heavens for that. Good. So how is everybody? It's great to see you, Erika. Malik, how are you?
Doing great. How are you? How long has it been since you've seen David and Guillaume?
David I saw at GDC last year. Guillaume I haven't seen in quite a while, actually. I don't think. Did I see you at GDC as well? Yeah, you missed me. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I'm not sure. No, I think we met at E3 at one point.
Yes,
3-4 years ago or something. Time flies.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah. Boy, doesn't it? Yeah. 10 years. Woo, that went quick.
So, Pascal, you still do a ton of motion capture work, but it kind of all started with Heavy Rain. How did that sort of change things for you?
Well, to put it quite... changed my life. I don't say that lightly either. I was a jobbing actor in the UK, and I was doing plenty of theatre and film and TV and all the rest of it. And through a casting that was actually pretty much like a film casting, and after a long wait, I found myself in an entirely different world, or it seemed that way. It was a dream. I can still remember walking into the studio for the first time and just seeing this big empty box, and thinking, what on earth am I going to do in here? I mean, there's nothing. And then they say, well, there's obviously no costume. You're going to be wearing this, this tight lycra thingy, and you've got markers. And they started to explain it to me, and it was the beginning of a love affair with motion capture. Still to this day, I walk into capture volumes, and it's when they're just doing the sort of the setup. Often it's dark except for the cameras that are around, and it's like Christmas Day at the orphanage. It's magical. It's this space where anything is possible, and it's both liberating and utterly terrifying. I love it. Yes, and Heavy Rain was the very first time that became very horribly apparent at times.
What was your standout memory that you have working with the production team? Is there anything that stands out above the rest as far as your memories go?
Yeah, well, there's a few. There's a couple of moments that were sort of sudden learning moments for me. Just about what the hell it was that I was doing and how I was going to do it. But I think some of the scenes that stuck out, obviously the finger cutting scene, I will never forget. Because because when you play the game, you have to make a single choice. But I recall that it was done after lunch, I think sometime after lunch, and David came down and we did all of them in one session. And it's one of those things where you think, why on earth would you put yourself through that? But on the other hand, in a movie or in a theater play, you have the gun and you've got to use the gun. Whereas in this situation, I got to play around with the difference between sawing my finger off to chopping it off to using clippers, and the different kinds of experience that would be. And then to top it off, what's the different kind of scream between when you've cut your finger off to when you're cauterizing it with a red hot poker? It was brilliant and exhausting. I remember I was completely exhausted afterwards. But yes.
So I should confess I should confess that was some kind of therapy for me, because I cut my 2 fingers when I was a kid. I lost 2 fingers actually, and yeah, so they are shorter, and it happened to me when I was 6. And actually, it was an accident, a silly accident. So I know exactly what it's like to lose 2 fingers. So that was my biography in the game, somehow telling you about my life. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I will remember forever this performance from Pascal also, because it was also something that really impressed me. For this scene, we didn't want to do anything gory. We didn't want any blood. We didn't want to it would have been easy to show a lot of blood in the scene and get people horrified just because, so much blood. But actually, we wanted to do the opposite. We didn't want to show one drop of blood and just make you feel the sheer horror of a guy cutting his finger. And it all relied on the performance. So, and I must say that Pascal really scared us, because we were on stage with the team and we really thought, oh my God, did he really cut his finger? It was so intense and so strong. And Pascal showed me that we could go that far with motion capture, and that you could get this sense of horror just through acting. And in motion capture, you don't need to show anything. And that was a big lesson for me.
The added layer of the context of the situation also came through. If it was just a question of, pick A, B, or C, and there was no emotional context behind it and no stakes, then yes, that would be the cheaper version, and you'd be tempted to use blood. But because of the stakes and because of the context of the character, it's not just about cutting your fingers off. It's what are you willing to do, and what is the payoff of this? Are you willing to do that? And that creates an emotional storm and an emotional conflict, if you like, that made it an extremely compelling scene to actually do. And from what I understand, it's, I know that people react to it very well. It's very memorable. But I think that's why. It's not just because it's the cutting of just cutting a finger off. There are far more gory and horrible things you can do in video games. Even then you could, it was the emotional context, and that speaks volumes about the writing and the story that David and Quantic Dream were putting together. That's why the scene is good, is because of the story behind it, not particularly because of the choice of cutting your finger, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, it's an extremely visceral performance, and it's one that, as we can see in chat, and by Malik's and my faces, has really stuck with everybody. And there was it's interesting because we've talked about black box theater before, and how in theater you can create these very real, live, vibrant performances, but in the case of motion capture, you really have to also be on par with those performances with the technology. And there's actually a question from a fan from Shino OBT TV that says, besides the fancy jumpsuits and all of the imaginary sets and props, what are the main technical differences between shooting a scene in performance capture versus traditional film.
Sure.
And you actually had to contend with a lot of technical sort of difficulties for those performances. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I now teach motion capture with a group of people I know called the Mocap Vaults, and one of the first things that we cover at the very beginning is that the capture volume, which is the studio in which you do it in, the cameras are not interested in the way you look, the color of your skin, even the shape of your body particularly. It's simply tracking the movement of your skeleton in space. Now, you might think, well, okay, you can get away with a lot more, but actually the opposite is true. In film, particularly in film and TV, and to some degree in theatre too, is that there's so much other stuff going on. From your costume, you get information about that. From your voice, your paralinguistic, everything is working together. And if one thing isn't quite consistent, you may get away with it. There are plenty of times that actors say, "Oh, that scene was terrible," and they look back at it and they kind of go, "Yeah, that wasn't so bad actually," or the director says, "That was great."
Yeah.
You know, there's like a smoke and mirrors that occurs in these other medium. Now, you don't get that smoke and mirrors because everything's stripped away from you. And so if you are physically unbelievable, and that means that you are not in character, if your character is not physically present, then it will show. And that is the biggest difference, is that, so for instance, there was one moment where I had to get a box out of a locker at the central station. And inside the box is... I can do spoilers. There's some, I'm not quite sure, shall I? There's some heavy objects. Put it that way.
A little bit. A decade out here, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a gun in there, as far as I recall, and the box was not quite heavy enough. And so when I pulled it out, I just pulled it out and then I walked off. And then I went back and looked at what I call the point cloud, which is just literally the dots and the shape of my skeleton. And I could see that there was not enough weight in the box. It wasn't registering. And that's when sort of the light went off, and I went, "Oh my God!" Almost every moment, in fact, every second that I'm in the volume, is a chance for my physical body to betray the story or to make the story. And that's why I say it sort of somewhat changed my life, because getting to that level of honesty and detail as an actor, you can get away with a fair amount, you know, but in the capture volume, you can't. Any falsehood, later on, somebody is going to have to deal with it.
I think it's a very interesting story. I think that motion capture is a very pure form of acting, because actually, as Pascal said, you can't hide behind anything. It's pretty much the naked actor, and it's him and the script and his partners, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you need to act, you need to play with the emotion, because you can't cheat, you can't lie. So, and I would like to add something that Pascal didn't mention, but technology has evolved a lot since Heavy Rain, between Heavy Rain, Beyond, and Detroit. When we were working on Heavy Rain, we split the performance in two parts because the technology was not there to shoot the body, the face, and the voice at the same time. So we shot initially the dialogues in a sound booth where we shot the facial animation and the voice. And then we were moving to the motion capture studio for the dialogues in order to play back the audio that we just recorded and have the actor deliver the physical performance in sync with the audio. So you have a body performance for the dialogues too, which was incredibly challenging. And I don't even know how they did that, but actually they did it. How Heavy Rain was shot like this. But starting on Beyond and of course on Detroit, we changed that. And now we shoot body, face, and voice at the same time. But most importantly, we shoot all actors together. So when you have a scene where 5, 6, 7, 8 people are together in the same space and talk to each other and look at each other in a dialogue scene, we can shoot them all at the same time, which was not the case at the time of Heavy Rain. So even more kudos to Pascal and all the actors on Heavy Rain, because it was a real acting challenge.
Indeed, indeed. I feel like all you guys' performance definitely translated very well. I felt them all. I don't know about you, Erika, how you felt about it, but it was all authentic to me. I thought you guys knocked it out of the park. I I do want to ask, though, another question that was posed through the chat to you, Guillaume. Heavy Rain, of course, it was 10 years ago. You guys were fresh off of Fahrenheit, working with PlayStation, moving on to this next game. What was the state of the studio, and when did you guys know that Heavy Rain was going to be successful?
Well, we started working on Heavy Rain in 2005, end of 2005, 2006, and when we signed with Sony, we were at the same time extremely proud, but also extremely anxious because we knew we were working with one of the largest publishers in the world, that we were going to have a relatively big budget, and that we needed to create something extraordinary, almost, to be able to sustain the expectations that Sony and others had put into the studio. So we worked very hard, very committed to delivering something unique, original. But to answer the second part of your question, we didn't really know until the very end if the game was going to be as good as we were hoping, and even less if it would sell as it did then when it released. So it was we were very focused. It was a very intense production, but we just tried to give it, the best we could, follow David's very clear vision that he had for the game right from the beginning. And, each department just tried as hard as possible to give their best. And then when it released, and then we were just absolutely amazed by the reception. And of course, extremely happy when we saw the first million sales, etc., and 2 million, etc., because we knew that we would be able to continue doing the games we love. And for a studio like us, especially at that time, each release was potentially the last. And so Heavy Rain's success to a certain degree shaped the coming 10 years for the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to say, for me as a creator, there were two important moments in the development. I mean, the first one was to see the performance of actors, because you work on the writing for so long, and the text really takes shape only when it's said by actors. So I could see the performance of brilliant actors like Pascal on set, and I thought, okay, maybe we have something, but I was not sure yet. And the game, looked great, and there was kind of a story, but I was unsure whether there would be an emotional journey to it yet. And for me, the second very important moment was when we added the soundtrack, because suddenly all the scenes made sense, and suddenly I could feel the emotion in every scene. And I would really say that the soundtrack played a major role. It was composed by a composer who unfortunately passed away some years ago, called Norman Corbell, but he did a fantastic job at creating the emotion in the game. So I didn't know, of course, if the game would be a success and if people would feel the emotion that I saw in the game. But at this moment, I had the feeling that I made the game I wanted to make. And in some ways, whether it would be a success or not was another question. But I was kind of proud of what we had achieved together with the team, who did also a fantastic work. But and then the success came, and success doesn't only bring you, it's not a matter of money, it brings you freedom. And creative freedom is the most important thing. Because we had this game that worked, because we demonstrated that there was a market, that there were people who were enjoying this type of experiences. You need to remember that there was no game like Heavy Rain, or very few at the time. So it was really a big bet on creating a new genre. And no one knew, not us, not Sony, not anyone knew what would happen commercially with the game. So when the success was there, as Guillaume said, it really showed that we could live with the passion we had for this kind of games, and we could continue to create. And then came Beyond, and then came Detroit, and then will come more soon.
Yeah,
So cool.
with we were talking a little bit about this, about how at the time that it came out, it was not sort of a default for a big AAA fancy title to have a narrative in that way. And now you look at all of the, biggest releases in a year, they all have that sort of narrative heavy player choice aspect to them. But this was very new at the time. And Pascal, you actually had the book that Heavy Rain is a part of history for that aspect.
If you see this was sent to me by somebody that this is back in the early days of Twitter, and she said, "What? There's this book. It's published. It's now in the Congress Library." And I was flicking through it, and it's got all these Panzer Dragoon, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, yeah, Halo, of course, Shadow of the Colossus, yeah, and then, of course, hang on, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
look at that. To me, nice. That's extraordinary. And what you were saying about the context of the games at the time, when you flick through and you look at the progress of games, as they say, from Pac-Man to Mass Effect, you can see that Heavy Rain really stands out. I mean, it stands out as this narrative benchmark in gaming, and I do believe that Heavy Rain was a serious influence on everything that we see now, from Red Dead Redemption or any of the big games that rely on sometimes these massive narrative endeavors. I mean, hundreds of thousands of lines, multiple iterations. At the time, that the idea that could be something was not a done deal. There was still some sort of resistance. There was I think around at the time there was like, yeah, well, game is game. Game is game. Don't mix it up with film. What do you want to do? It be a filmmaker? Then make films. And I think that basically overlooks something very powerful about narrative interactive drama, which is you get to be and experience those things, and in all the games that I've done since as well, knowing that is basically at the heart of the player's experience. When everybody's saying, "Oh, what's the player doing? What's the player doing?" Really, what they're asking is, "What's the player feeling? How involved is the player in what's going on?" And what narrative does, it gives the player that opportunity. It gives the player the ability to walk in the shoes of other people, to walk in shoes of other people that maybe are completely outside their experience, in stories that might be completely outside their experience. And that goes back to the fundamentals of storytelling. So anybody that says, well, narrative in gaming, it's really not a thing. No, it really is a thing. Interactive drama is something extraordinary and special and relatively new. And Heavy Rain, I think it has every right to be in this book. Absolutely. And I'm proud that it's there. That it's there. Let's have another. There you go.
One
more time.
No, it definitely deserves to be there. I love it.
I am not endorsing this project. I get no money for anybody that buys this.
No, it's true that having that experience. Sorry, Malik.
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. No, it's true that having a game that is entirely based on storytelling was a real challenge at the time. I remember having pitched this game to publishers, and they were I was telling them the story, and they said, "Okay, great." And then they said, "But do you have a gun?" I said, "No, you don't have a gun." They say, "Oh, well, you drive cars?" "No, you don't drive cars." "Oh, then you jump on platforms?" "No." And the answer was, "Oh, then it's not a video game." And it was very interesting because this feedback really was weird to me, because I thought, okay, this is how we define interactivity. Interactivity is about shooting or jumping or driving. Is there a different notion of interactivity that we could explore? And this is really what we tried with Heavy Rain at the time. And I totally agree with what Pascal said. I mean, people will forget what they did. They will never forget how they felt. And so in all my games, and it's the same in Detroit, same in Beyond, we try to focus on the emotional journey that the player goes through, because I think that's the most memorable part of the experience. People will forget which button they pressed and blah, blah, blah. They will only remember what happened to them. And this is a story that they can tell, that they can share, and that they can, they can talk about.
Indeed. Now, I love it because the story's so compelling. I feel like Quantic Dream, you guys have been so good at character building throughout the story, and then it's choice driven on top of that. So I feel like, people will say the lines are blurred, but you're still making a choice as a gamer. You still get the opportunity to make the experience your own, and I think that's very important. So it's great. But guys, we're going to go ahead and keep things moving. Got to say thank you to Pascal for joining us today, for taking the time to hop on here. Any last words that you'd like to say to the fans, man? I think you were muted for that. Give it to us one more time.
All right. Jason!
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what I thought you said. I love it. I love it so much. You had to do that. That was lovely. Thank you very much, Pascal. David and Guillaume, we'll see you in a second. But for all you Heavy Rain fans out there in the chat, there's a video series that you're going to want to keep your eyes on. We got a teaser for you. So we're going to show that to you here in a second. But let's take a look at the rest of the day. Erika, Detroit's coming up next. Are you excited?
We have a celebration of Detroit Become Human's 2nd anniversary. I cannot believe that it's already 2 years. What a 2 years it has been. We're going to play a little bit of the community play here on Twitch. So again, if you're on Facebook or Twitter, YouTube, please come and join us here on Twitch, so that you are able to vote on what we do in our Detroit playthrough, and also enter for the giveaway at the end of the stream. You might also be wondering what that Quantic story thing is. We will explain that, and that is something that I am particularly excited about as somebody who really loves the community. But yeah, as Malik said, if that was an incredible discussion, and I could just talk about narrative in games all day, every day. Like we have spent late nights discussing all of that, Malik. And but for those of you who want to know more about that or want more discussions like that, there is a Heavy Rain behind the scenes video series, and we're going to take a look at the trailer for that right now.
Peggy 18.
Are you prepared to suffer to save your son? You have 5 minutes to cut off the last section of one of your fingers in front of the camera.
10 years ago, one of the most iconic games of all time was released, Heavy Rain. With its pioneering motion capture performances, mature, rich narrative, and innovative interactive gameplay, the cinematic experience has left a compelling mark on the history of video games. 10 years later, the creators, including visionary director David Cage, look back on their landmark action thriller, recently remastered for PC, in a special 3-part series commemorating the anniversary of a title that changed the language of video games forever.
Fantastic. So cool. That's so the kind
cool.
Of thing
it's so cool just to know. It's so cool to know the war stories of what went behind making that experience that was so compelling to us,
Yeah, and speaking of compelling, it's time to celebrate Detroit Become Human's 2nd anniversary. Now, this game was just such a runaway success. I had so much fun playing it and figuring out all the decisions. I've done a couple of playthroughs. The community, it has been such an honor and a pleasure to be able to interact with them online. And right now, I want to welcome back David Cage, of course, and also we have some of the developers here with us, with Gregory Diaconu and Adam Williams. Guys, come on out. So Adam is the lead writer, Gregory is the associate game director. David was writer and game director for this one. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Happy anniversary!
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
So, David.
Oh, yes.
It's up to me. So
wild 2 years. Like, I mean, did you expect any of this?
Oh my God, not at all. You know, each time you work on a game, you never know what to expect. You're full of doubts and questions, and you wonder if you do the right thing and if you make the right decisions and how people are going to react to this or that. And you never know. I mean, don't think that you're sure of anything. Actually, you're full of doubts until the very last second. And what we did on Detroit was really trusting our instinct as a team and really doing the games we believed in. And we were so amazed to see the reactions and to see how the community reacted. They're such a great community. You know, we wanted a lot of very positive value and humanist values in this game and in our previous games too. But this one was special because it was about being different. It was about self-acceptance. It was about, you know, the right of minorities. It was about all these things. So it's a very complex topic that are not often treated in games. And we wanted to see if we could create an experience that would convey these humanist values. And it's so great to see how this community, you know, resonated with this theme somehow and reacted so positively to the game and to the characters and maybe to the notion of being a deviant. And we can see some fan arts. We've received tons of fan arts, and people are incredibly talented. It's really amazing how talented people are. They really revisited the game in their own style to express themselves, and you know, recreating the characters with different moods and different intentions, different emotions, and it's really great. Yeah, and I was just saying this notion of being deviant is something that we believe is really strong. We all want to be deviant somehow, and yeah, be different is something important for all of us.
We have a board of all the fan art that comes in up at the studio. So people should keep sending them in. You can think as a fan that it's going to not get looked at or whatever, but it really does. And when we have our morning coffee, sometimes we just stand and marvel at all the stuff that comes in. And the level of care and attention that you can see in some of these images, I know David feels the same way. With these being interactive games, they only really become what they're supposed to be when someone plays them anyway. So seeing how the fans interpret it and which characters come to the fore for them and so on, that's the most satisfying part of the whole process.
Yeah, there is fan art, but we should also mention cosplay. I mean, cosplayers, they are incredible. They do images. We sometimes we don't have a clue how they created these images. They are just beautiful, and not just beautiful. They are very meaningful. They really use the game and the characters to express themselves. And we are, as Adam said, we are really impressed every day, and we really look at this fan art and we just love them. That's the short way to say it.
Yeah, it's true for the entire team. Just such love is amazing because it feels like what we do actually matter, and that's the biggest feeling we can have. That's amazing. Yeah.
Right. It's got to be super validating. See some people putting so much passion into this artwork, into this user-generated content, giving it to you guys.
Yeah, and the stories they tell about some of the characters, how much they build upon like small moments or small characters that just appear for like a few seconds and create amazing stories about that. That's so interesting because it gives so much depth to the world we worked on, and that's amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes we're surprised because... Sorry, go on, Adam.
No, go ahead, David.
No, go on. Your turn.
I was going to say it is exciting.
So this is not meeting.
I think it also... Yeah, this is how we collaborate in the writing room. I think it gives a sense of responsibility as well. So we had some quite heavy messages from fans talking about how the game had allowed them to explore difficult issues in their lives, and it makes you realize that these are not just stories for some people, or if they are, they use them to deal with quite important topics, and so it gives you an even stronger sense and resolve to work very, very hard on what you're doing and to take it very, very seriously. So yeah, it is exciting, but it's kind of more than that in some way. It also, I wouldn't say intimidating, but it gives you a sense of just how important the work can be for some of the audience.
Yeah, it makes you very responsible about the things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have to say, from interactions with the community online, and also when we met a lot of them at Comic-Con, a lot of the stories that I were hearing are there are a lot of fans of this game that are younger people that are sort of struggling with identity and figuring out who they are and who they can become. And it's been really amazing to see them latch onto this story as, this sort of call to arms that you can choose to be whoever you want to be.
Yeah,
indeed.
interesting is that
I want to go ahead. Oh,
No,
sorry, Greg.
No. Yeah. What also very interesting how it resonated with people around the world in sometimes very different ways, and so as you can, it's all about finding stuff, and that can be found in a very different way depending on the people. I think there's a very universal message about all that.
Indeed. I do want to remind everybody, if we're talking over each other, this is live, and we're all doing this from the comfort of our homes. So,
it's as live as it gets.
So just a heads up on that. But yeah, Greg, that's so cool. And I want to take a chance to kind of piggyback off of this discussion that you guys are all having and ask a question that was given to us from a fan. So ex-UK fangirl Jade X, she wants to know, how has it personally felt for you at the company to see in so many different mediums how the game has influenced the players' art, cosplay, and their outlook on life and the possible future due to the choices they made in game? How does that feel to you guys personally? I'll start with you, David, on this one.
I let Adam answer first. I think he's the right person to answer this.
Okay.
Well, I mean, so this was my first video game. So I was aware of David's work and what Quantic had done, and that was, I kind of wrote to David to pitch myself. My previous background has been in TV. So I had a sense of how kind of influential his games had been in the past. But it's still a shock when, you spend 2 or 3 years where only a small group of people are really talking about these characters in a room, and everything's very abstract, and it's a very kind of private process of building up what they'll say moment to moment and who they're going to be and so on. And then suddenly the characters are public, and not only are they public in the way a TV character's public, but they're being played and changed by people, and so they kind of belong to the audience very suddenly. So it's quite surreal, but it's very satisfying too, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can only assume as a creator, put yourself out the way that you guys do, and to get so much love back, it would feel so gratifying at the end of the day.
It is, and sometimes it's very surprising also because, for example, there's a version of Connor that we only see in the end with a white suit, and we see him for a couple of seconds, and it's crazy how people reacted to this character that we barely see in the game. Or a character like Gavin, for example. When we designed him, we thought we are going to create someone that everybody will hate. It is so difficult with Connor, and and we thought, okay, that's going to work so well. We hate him. And actually, people love him, and they try to understand why he is this way and why he's so hard on Connor, etc., etc. And they create a whole story around this character of Gavin that now we love too. I mean, we loved him from the beginning, believe it or not. But it's crazy to see how people take ownership of the characters and they invent their own stories around them, and they find reasons for them to be who they are. And that was very moving too, and very interesting, fascinating to see actually how we can actually write the story together, which is what fascinates me the most about this medium, is that with all the Detroit community, we told the story together. It's their choices, their decisions, their fan art, their stories, their imagination with the game that we created.
David's right that there's always surprises in the mix. Like you don't have such a clear idea beforehand of which characters are going to be popular and which ones won't. and things can resonate that you never saw coming, and that's part of the fun, actually. I mean, as David says, the RK900 or Nines dimension to the Connor community was a real shock, because he's huge. Bad Connor is a massive character for people, and the guy has I don't know how many lines he's got, but not many.
I'm not sure he has any.
We did get a question of what his official name is, if you're allowed to disclose that. If not, it's okay, and I never asked it.
Oh, it's a Connor. It's a Connor for sure.
It's an RK900, so it's the next Connor.
Yeah, he's the next generation of Connor, but he's still a Connor.
Imagine if Brian Decker was a bad guy. That's RK900. Imagine if Brian Decker wasn't super likable and sweet, which is hard. I think that's probably part of why it's so exciting for people, because you see Brian in that scary aspect, which is not him at all. If you know him in real life, he's one of the most charming people you'll ever meet. And suddenly on set, you tell him be scary, but that's a good actor, isn't it? You say be a scary, intimidating figure, and his posture changed, the way he held his head changed. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the secret to the character's popularity.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun in one scene in particular, without spoiling the game, but there was a scene with Connor is confronted with another version of himself. And of course, Brian had to shoot both characters. So it was him talking to himself, but a different version of himself. And we can say good thing because he cannot hear us, but it's such a brilliant actor that it was really a lot of fun to shoot these two different versions of Connor with the same actor.
That's so cool. You got to see two different sides to him, two different angles.
And I think when we filmed that, didn't you, David, read the other Connor's part? So when he's delivering those speeches, he's delivering them both to you on set.
Yes, absolutely. So he heard the other lines in this bad English with a French accent, but he reacted very positively, and he pretended not to hear the accent and pretending I was a great actor too. So thank you, Brian, for this.
So good. All right. Well, I got one more question for Gregory I want to ask. This was from D Drawman. He wants to know, in the character gallery in Detroit, there's a 3D model of Gavin in a shirt that was not used in game. Did you remove any scene from the game with Gavin?
Did we remove any scene in the game with him? I don't think we removed scenes from the game with Gavin. I think there are some scenes where Gavin. I can think maybe of one scene where Gavin was supposed to be here, and we removed him. I think it's the first scene. David, Adam, I think we can correct me on this. I think it's the first scene where Connor meets Hank. They meet at the bar and they go to the crime scene together. And I think Gavin was supposed to be here. I think it was back on the days when his name was very early drafts, and I think it was back when his name was Curtis. It was on the very early drafts.
Yeah, he had different names. So I have a very bad memory, so
And actually, what's interesting about that is that if you play the game and you catch the murderer in that scene, you interrogate him in the next scene, and yes.
Oh yeah, the stream's muted.
Yeah, I think we're all a little shook. right now, but we lost audio. So hang on. If if audio isn't back, then
because we
just
could make them even more freaking out.
We're back.
It's because your news was so controversial, Greg. It broke the internet.
We broke internet. Yes.
You broke it by saying there was a fourth character.
That's really cool. What I was saying is that the other thing that was cut, it was in the early stage, so we didn't go very far with it, but there was actually a fourth playable character in the game, and other than Marcus, Kara, and Connor, obviously. So it was early on, but we still had some scenes that David you wrote. And we had some concept art, beautiful concept art, but it was already crazy to make a story with 3 characters that could intersect with each other with so many branching. Like with 4 characters, it would be insane. So I don't think we can say who it was.
No,
but,
I don't think we should.
What can I say? I can say one thing. I can say one thing is that we did rework that character, and that character version of them ended up in the as an NPC. So if you look around the game, you can find who it was if you look like around in the game.
Yeah, it's true that when I started writing,
I broke Erika.
When I started the writing, I had 4 characters, and I started writing, and I wrote a couple of scenes. I mean, there were like maybe 5-6 scenes written, and up to a point where I thought, wait a second, it's impossible to write, interlaced branches with 4 characters. It becomes way too complex and too big, and so I decided to cut one of the characters. But we rarely cut things from the game. I think scenes that are really entirely implemented, maybe we cut a couple of scenes because there was an issue of pacing. Pacing is something very important in the games, and we test the game a lot and play test them and get feedback from players during the development to see what works and what is the right pacing for the experience. And so we cut maybe a couple of scenes that were really fully implemented.
So cool. I love it, man. I love it. I feel like we learned a lot more than we should have. I feel like you guys gave us what we asked for. So thank you so much.
I may be fired tomorrow.
By the way, chat. By the way, while Greg was muted, while we were all muted, Greg dropped a huge spoiler. So you should thank him for muting the stream just for that small period of time. You guys.
I was saying who Aaron is.
But he also muted at the same time. It was like a deliberate. He planned it in advance. He hit mute as he said it, and then unmuted just to frustrate people. But if you were recording it, you could read his lips.
So lovely. Well, yo, Greg, Adam.
Oh, please continue.
Erika, all you.
Okay. We obviously could talk forever about this, but a lot of questions that are being put into chat right now, we're going to pull those from chat, and they can be answered later in a blog. And also, this is the first of many Quantic streams, so we're going to have everybody back, and we're going to be asking them the hard questions and getting more bombshells just like this. So do not despair. We'll come back to this at a later date.
Yes, indeed. Guys, keep those questions firing away.
That means we're done. Is that our cue to? Is that you politely telling us to slide off?
Maybe just go to the sidelines for a second. Because you guys made a great game.
Yeah.
You guys made a great game. Detroit was great, but I feel like part of that greatness has to go to the awesome performances that we had from the actors. So we're going to bring some actors here onto the stage in place of you guys. Thank you so much, though, Adam, Gregory, David. Thank you guys for giving us.
Yeah, Malik, if I may just say a word just before the next section. So I would like to thank this gentleman. I mean, Adam is the lead writer. Did a fantastic job at helping me writing this game. It was a huge challenge. It was crazy insane with thousands of variables, and we needed to find a storyline for all these possibilities and all the sense of closure and everything. We worked also together on the dialogues. We'll talk about this later, but it was really a big challenge. And thanks also to Greg, who was associate game director on this. He helped me tremendously in making Detroit what it is today. But beyond these two gentlemen, I would like to thank the entire team at Quantic Dream. I mean, we had a wonderful team. If the game is what it is because these people worked hard and with passion and put their heart and soul into the game. And I think that's what people maybe like about Detroit is basically their heart and soul, not just mine, because you see my face most of the time, but it's really there's a fantastic and very talented team behind the game and behind Quantic Dream.
They are watching.
Thank you, David.
Everyone.
Oh, they watch. Oh no, I shouldn't say that.
Give these guys their flowers. Give them their flowers. Lovely, lovely. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Can't wait to hear more from you. But we're going to keep it going because, of course, as I said, what made Detroit so dynamic was some of the performances from the actors and the actresses. They killed it. I don't think there's been a performance in game up there with that one. I feel like Detroit was pretty top tier when it comes to game performances. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring out. We have Brian Deckard, who played Connor. We have Amelia Rose Blair, who played Tracy. We have Neil Newbon, who played Elijah and Gavin as well. And then we have Clancy Brown, who played Hank Anderson. David's here with us again as well. How's it going, everybody? How are you doing?
Good. So we woke up Clancy.
Clancy has the mask on. I love it.
I just took Clancy. Yeah, I feel safe. Are we too close? I'm literally the box next to him. I think I'm too close. Sorry, Clancy, right? I'm too close to you. Sorry, man. Yeah. You're my vector.
Is this pretty much how it was in the studio, you guys? Was it like a lot of fun when you guys were working on the game together?
I would say it was fun. Did you have some fun, Clancy?
I did. I'm just getting a little hot in here. I'll take this off. Okay. I had some great fun with you, Brian, and with David. And no, this isn't really me.
There he is.
The epic reveal.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I had a good time with you a lot, Brian. And I didn't get to work with Neil. Did I work with you, Neil? I don't remember working. No, we walked past each other going in and out of the volume, and I was a little starstruck, I have to say. So I actually couldn't say anything to you. I just went, hi, and just sort of walked past you. Yeah, stop it. Yeah, all right, starstruck, sure.
Yeah. So how are things going to you guys? Is everybody working from home? Is joining us from their house right now?
Yeah, man. Staying safe, staying home, playing a lot of video games. Mm-hmm. Streaming a lot on Twitch, and really grateful to see all you guys. This is exciting to celebrate 2 years since the game came out. And Neil joined us as a guest on our stream one time. We've had Erika on our stream and David Cage, but Clancy, the internet is freaking out right now, man.
They're freaking out. They're very excited.
I'm not paying attention. Cool. That's nice. They're freaking out.
They're freaking out. It's a compliment.
Yeah.
I think you should start a whole sub industry. Like Dexter Games or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, David, how did you find these dudes? I mean, I know how you found me, but how'd you find Brian and Neil?
Oh, Brian, I found him. We did a casting session in Hollywood, actually, and we met, I don't know, maybe 100 actors, honestly, for the part. And at the end, we had 3 actors remaining, and Brian was one of them. And I wasn't sure, to be honest. I'm not a very good director. I was not sure about who was the right character for Connor, who was the right actor. So I did something stupid.
I'm not a very good director. Yeah.
I asked my kids, and I showed them the 3 videos of the 3 actors playing Connor, and I asked them, which one do you like the most? And both immediately said Brian, right away. And when they showed it to me, I thought, yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, Brian was casted by my kids, and I'm really glad they did, because I could have missed him, and I would have been very sad.
Oh, well, I think your kids could direct the game someday. That'd be pretty cool.
I think they should. They would probably do a better job. No, but what was funny is just a quick story. Actually, when I cast, I usually write 20% of my script. I get into 20% of the script, and then I go casting. So I got a sense of who the characters are. And when I meet actors, I can really see if they correspond to the role I have in mind. And then I go back and I write according to the characters, to the actors that I met, to use really their voice and create a character that corresponds to them. And I must say that Hank is absolutely no different from Clancy as far as I can judge. Clancy. So I don't think that Clancy actually acted. He was just himself on stage. There was no acting there.
Right, sure. Whatever you say, director.
No, of course. No. Clancy was a wonderful, wonderful actor, and my biggest pleasure was to see him interacting with Brian. And it was really funny because we had two different, Clancy was a very experienced actor, Brian was a younger actor, and it really corresponded to their roles in the game between Connor and Hank. And I think that's kind of the part of the alchemy that worked so well in the game between these two characters. But you guys should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on that a little bit, David.
Brian. Go for it. I would have married Brian if Amelia hadn't shown up.
Not their first.
I mean, Clancy, as you guys can guess, is a bit of a deviant. And I showed up working on Detroit, really wanting to do everything perfectly, which is very Connor. So it's in my programming to be very exact. So I really enjoyed working with Clancy over the weeks that we performed all of our scenes. I really think that Clancy's playfulness and kind of breaking the rules a little bit, bending and being a deviant really helped shape Connor's arc of myself, even kind of breaking away from the script a little bit and, having some more, just bravery. Like if you've ever felt like you're not the bravest version of yourself, get Clancy Brown to slam you up against something and you have to say the lines as written and you'll, it helped me deviate as an actor. I feel like I'm less precious. You mentioned that one time on set, Clancy. You're like, I'm not precious about stuff. And I think for creative people, that's really important to not get too, don't be a perfectionist about your art. If you're a painter or you make music or whatever, just make things, stay creative and stay active. And that's a big part of our streaming community is just about staying engaged creatively and really allowing yourself the permission to grow and change as an artist as you make the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So thanks, Clancy. And Neil's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Neil. Neil, were you your authentic self when you were without me around?
I was filling some big boots, but I had a lot of fun. I did this explains why Brian used to body slam me at every rehearsal. I thought it was a part of the process, but no, just like honoring that. Yeah, man, it was a hoot. I have to huge thanks to Adam, to David, and to George, and to everybody really, and also especially to Brian and Amelia, because I got 2 bites of the cherry, which was unbelievable. And the fact that I got to spend all of my time working with Brian with both those sides, those 2 characters, was just ridiculous. It was so much fun. We had some incredibly challenging physically days, but there was not a single bad day. It was excellent. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, just so Neil played Elijah Kamsky, and of course the famous Gavin. It's always a challenge.
Curtis, you could have almost been Curtis, Neil.
I was Curtis at the audition. That's the thing. But the thing about Gavin, right, which obviously David mentioned, is he's not supposed to be like an important character. He is basically an emotional like plot lead for you to like Connor more because I'm a dick. It's basically all that character's supposed to be.
Those are great roles.
No, it was immensely challenging for Neil because he was playing 2 different characters that are not supposed to be related. So it's something usually we don't do because we feel that players will see that it's the same actor behind.
Oh,
but Neil did such a great performance that it totally separated the 2 characters, and most people didn't even notice that it was the same actor. So he did a great performance. I would just like to quickly go back to before we talk about Amelia. About Clancy and Brian, to say 2 things. I mean, the first thing is I knew that it would work between the two on the first day of shooting because we started shooting the bar scene, if you guys remember. So Clancy was supposed to be drunk, and Brian was supposed to be the straight, very clean Connor. And just I felt the interaction between the two was so funny. And I think that Clancy was so surprised also of Brian acting this way. I mean, I don't know how you felt about this day, Clancy.
Well, I wasn't familiar with the Connor character really, and I certainly hadn't met Brian yet. But you know, and you take what you're given. The technique that Brian had to do, you know, I mean, literally the technique where and you probably Neil too, where you have to like. You have to get into a spot where you make the decision, and then you have to be in the same place. You have to be in the same place physically and I don't know, emotionally, I guess, in order to move on according to the selection that's made. I don't know what that technique is called. Brian, what's that called when you have to do that? Is it
where we're doing the we call it the cycle, right, David? Where Connor has one option for a line, and then each choice, yeah.
Right. That was the only thing that kind of threw me, is that like it was like the walk up to the moment of the cycle, and then the arrest, and then moving forward through that. That's the only part I really had to get used to. But you know, actors, we're all the same tribe. We kind of recognize each other right off the bat. You know, I mean. You know, I know who Neil is. I know who Brian is. I know who Amelia is. You know, we just got to give each other permission and tell each other we're, you know, the same family and everything's safe, and we'll put up with David and whatever he says. Oh, by the way, David, I have a question. I have a question. Did Neil play the mysterious fourth character thread? No. And I know who it was. Sumo was the fourth.
It was Sumo?
Yeah.
It was Sumo. Had to be. Has to be.
Yeah. Okay, Sumo was the fourth playable character. You got it.
See, I knew it. Thank you. Thank you, Internet. There you go, Internet. My gift to you.
No, yeah, just one last thing, and then I'll shut up. But it was very interesting to see these two actors who didn't know really each other at the beginning, and how they became closer and closer. And they really followed exactly the same arc in real life than their characters in the game. And honestly, one of the most moving moments for me in the game is when you hug Connor in one of the endings. It's so simple. It's so simple, but it's so moving. And when I saw you guys on stage in New York doing exactly the same thing, honestly, that was incredibly moving. And maybe I have something to fix with my own father. I don't know. Maybe I have. That's my therapy here. But I found this very moving, and I think fans did too. So yeah, these guys are just wonderful people, more than wonderful actors, wonderful people, and it was such a pleasure to work with them. So I cannot thank you enough for what you did on this game. Thank you.
Yo, thank you, David. And I know everyone's
David. You're such a softie.
I know we're all keeping social distance, but this is something we do on our stream, and I thought maybe it would be fun for all of us here. Could we get a group hug? Would you guys be down for a digital group hug?
That's a group hug.
Come on, Clancy, get in here, you old sourpuss. Let's go.
Oh, I love it. I'm feeling so emotional.
Wait, it's a little tight in here. Immense bear hug.
I put my mask on first.
Hey guys, we're really rude because we let Amelia waiting, and she was such a wonderful actress in this game too. So we should talk with Amelia, and she should tell us about her experience shooting this game.
Oh man!
Yeah,
well,
Amelia, give us. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No. You go ahead. I was going to ask you to give us a story, but it sounded like you were going to take us on a journey. So,
I mean, Getting to work on this game was literally such a dream come true, because when Brian first got cast, I was doing his sides with him back and forth, and I was like, this is a really interesting project. Like the project is really cool. And then when he got cast, I was so stoked for him. And then getting to also read a little bit more of the script as I was helping him get off book for Scenes with You, Clancy. And I just was really captured by the story. And so I got to go with Brian to Paris. Little did I know he was going to be proposing to me, but I got to audition to play the Tracy. And I had been dreaming that this would happen, that I would get to be part of the story, because I was so captivated by the through line of it. And as soon as I read the sides for Tracy, it hit me, and just right in the gut. So getting to play that character was literally a dream come true, and to get to be part of this amazing story and this incredible game with this amazing people. I'm gushing. I just feel so
I mean, it's literally changed our lives to be able to work on this game together and to continue. I mean, in the last 2 years, we have traveled so much to meet all of you guys around the world. I mean, we've gone to 12 different countries. I'm so glad in the last 2 years we got to see as much of the world as we did. I mean, we were on the Great Wall of China, and then the Colosseum in Rome, and then we're in Paris, and we were in Thailand, and it was just an absolutely incredible year. So we just are so grateful to everybody who has joined us on streams and have shared their experiences playing the game and their favorite endings. I mean,
and also the really amazing thing about this game is that people from all over the world have played it. People who speak completely different languages, have completely different lives, but they all connect over the same thing. It's the part that makes us human. It's the part that makes our heart beat, that makes our gut just kick into gear. And I think that's a testament to you, David, with the story that you wrote, and what makes us all human.
Well, thank you so much. Amelia did a fantastic job, because she had two characters. There were two Tracys, and it was very, very emotional. There were different, very emotional speeches that she had to do, monologues, very moving, very challenging, and she did a wonderful job. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm blushing like crazy.
I love it. I'm just enjoying this energy and this synergy between you guys. I feel like I'm back 2 years ago in the studio with you, just sitting here, listening to you guys go back and forth. It's lovely. It's lovely. We do have a question from the fans that I want to get out there. This one is because it's very interesting to me. Charlie C. Cox asks, all three games have been absolutely amazing and have amazing actors playing these characters. My personal favorite being Clancy Brown. My question is, what is the casting process like for these games? And do you guys create the characters with an actor already in mind? So I guess that question would be more so for you, David. But I just wanted to read it because that person said that Clancy was their favorite, and I wanted Clancy to hear that.
Guy needs to see more actors.
The casting part is a very important one. I mean, there's a famous French director who said, you don't need to be very good as a director. If you have a good script and good actors, you have nothing to do on set. I tend to agree. So I invest a lot in finding the right people, the right talents for the character. So it's a long process. Sometimes it's very long, sometimes it's very short. In the case of Clancy, we met in LA, I think, for a chat. I had him in mind for this character, and we just met and a chat. And we were done, I thought this is him. Just hope that it's going to work. But he's the right actor for the character. And I don't know what Clancy thought. He thought, what a strange French guy. So weird.
I had just done my first mocap job for Warcraft, which would be such a better game if Quantic Dream did it. But anyway, and I was in love with the process of mocap. I felt completely in love with it. Terry Notary ran the show for Warcraft, and then I came in and I actually was so full of energy about mocap that I probably talked David's ear off about what techniques he was using, what cameras he was using, and he had to shut me up and say, "Hey, we got this locked, okay? Just let's talk about the character." So that's pretty much what it was, and I left there wanting to do it. From his description, there was no script, of course, at that point, but the description was cool, and robot android movies are like a pretty popular subgenre these days. I mean, Westworld, for crying out loud. David, are you getting a credit on Westworld, for crying out loud? I mean, jeez. Aren't you worried? Didn't they kind of rip you off a little bit? I don't know, man.
Put out the cease and desist, man.
Especially this last season. Sorry, not to make trouble here, but boy, oh boy.
Not to make trouble with his dark shades of his gloved hands.
Yeah, right. Now I've just caused a lawsuit between Blizzard and HBO and Quantic Dream.
Clancy, no, you didn't. It's your personal opinion, man. It's all good, man. Your opinions are welcome here on the Quantic Stream.
Yeah, exactly. We're just hosting. We're not the lawyers. Like, any shade you can throw at other companies is gonna just be good and interesting for us. So, please continue.
Yeah, and I have a question for Clancy. I mean, did you freak out when you saw the volume of dialogues that there was, and the different branches and the different versions of answers and blah blah blah? Did it freak you out, or?
No, not really. I mean, I had done voiceover for games before, and the challenge was that it is a very technical thing to do, right? But we obviously, Connor and Hank, have to have a rapport, and that was an easy thing to build. But sometimes you're never sure how that's going to fit into what's scripted. I know you had an idea of it, but I had an idea of it too, and they weren't always the same, but they could be accommodated by Brian and I. I think it was all sort of a discovery initially, and then when you finally fall into the rhythm of the rapport, then you can pretty much do anything, which is really what you have to be able to do, because you have to be able to set up for the cycle every time. But no, I wasn't intimidated by the pile of script. I was a little intimidated by your insistence that I had to be off book, before I even got there, which is, I never thought to hire my wife to do the lines with me. I should have had her do that. She wouldn't have done it though, but I should have hired somebody to run it with me. But then we never would have known, what Brian and I could have built, with your guidance. So, that was fun. Does that make sense?
I think Neil might have had some of the longest passages in the script as far as actual blocks of text go as Kamsky, right?
Right. That's true.
Man.
It was interesting actually, because Clancy just spoke about the idea of starting a cycle, and not entirely sure the process of necessarily how you can go through that whilst keeping it authentic. I'm a little familiar with multi-branching narrative storylines, so in some respects, I kind of grateful that I had some background, not much, but a tiny bit of background, that I could understand a little bit of the concept of it. But yeah, it's very daunting when you have a very strong opinion of the character story, and of course then you have to factor in there's 6 different versions of the story. But I would say I really enjoyed the process, because it gave you this huge spectrum of different possibilities, all of which are authentic. None of which, it doesn't matter which ones the players choose, because that's for them. So as the actor, you're just playing that moment, and then you're sort of going back and going, okay, what happened? It's like rehearsal. It's like theatre rehearsal. I'm a big believer of performance capture as a new acting. Well, it's not new, but for actors, it's relatively new as a new acting medium because I think it combines the best of theatre, the best of film, the best of novels, the best of performance movement, and all that kind of stuff, and throws in a whole bunch of skill sets that you don't always get to do as an actor. I think it's true, as we were saying, that every moment is live, like theatre. You can use any moment that can be cannibalized into a different scene, into passing people by. So for me, it's a very exciting medium as a performer because I find it incredibly freeing that your body and your voice and your instincts and your impulses all have to be aligned in every moment because you don't know what, you're not sure where the camera's going to be, you're not sure if it's going to be on you. It's very freeing because it doesn't matter. So these choices, they're strong, interesting choices. You're not entirely sure which one's going to be pertinent for each player, and it kind of doesn't matter in that way, I guess, because you get to play all of it. So
yeah, and David can fix everything.
Yeah, that's it. I can save us.
No, I can't fix everything. I mean, honestly, it was easy to film later because we need to explain that first we shoot with actors, but there is no camera shot. We first work with actors like in theater, and then we place the cameras and we do all the camera work. So we can definitely do things and edit and work on the pacing, etc. But you need to have a great performance as a start. Otherwise, you can't do magic, right? I was just curious, Neil, were you surprised when you discovered the scene with Elijah Kamsky at the swimming pool, or is it the way you imagine it, or was it any different in the game?
I think in the same way that I find it troubling to look back at my performances once they've been shot. I mean, animation saves me a little bit, but television and film, I very rarely watch any of the stuff I've ever done because I like the experience I had in that moment. So I guess games are a little easier because my characters tend to look way cooler and are way more interesting than I am, so that helps. But I think I had a very strong idea about their relationship. So it was very cool to see the world. It was very cool to see how isolated, metaphorically, physically, literally, this guy's become through his own choices and through which way he is, and how he identifies with Connor in that way. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was absolutely extraordinarily beautiful what you created. But in terms of myself as an actor, I was really kind of obviously focused on the interaction between his creation and himself and his hopes and desires and all that kind of stuff. And I think I was really blown away by what you achieved. But I don't think I had a preconception about what it would look like. Only that it would look very interesting because of the character. So yeah. That was the question.
Yeah, I think that can be a trap when you're doing a multi-branching narrative to get too attached to any of the outcomes, because ultimately it's the player who decides what the story really is. And 2 years later, we've seen all kinds of depictions of people's expanded universe, altered reality. What do they think happened after the end of the story?
I completely screwed it. I told them that he was a dog person. Gavin's a dog person. They hate
Gavin's
me.
a dog person? No. Oh, it's okay. Apparently, Gavin is a cat person in the expanded universe. But the whole point. I mean, literally from the first trailer of this game, it says build your own story. So if one person thinks that Gavin is a jerk and deserves no attention, that's fine. If they think Gavin is the protagonist of this story, that's also fine. I mean, the whole point is your life is what you make of it. So if you are out there and you read certain things into the story because that's what you need to tell your story, then that's the point. So nobody's version of the story negates anybody else's version of the story. That's the entire point of the game, is that all of these realities are happening at the same time. Gets us back to the singularity, and that's, I think, something that prompted David Cage in writing this project in the first place, is that all things are possible and all things are happening at the same moment. David,
but that's so true, because it's really it's a story that we tell together with players, and that's what's so exciting about it, is that it's not just me telling a story. I'm just creating a landscape, and people can travel their own way within this landscape, and that's so great. They can find what they're looking for in the story, and not necessarily things I put there. Sometimes it's something they come with, which is absolutely fine.
player choice was absolutely so key to making this game as popular as it is, but a huge part of what made that choice compelling was the way that you all portrayed your characters and formed relationships and actually continued those relationships even outside the game. Thank you all so much for talking with us.
Yes.
I really hope that we'll be able to bring people back for more of these roundtables, because I just like, even separately in our different homes, like the chemistry was so palpable for this segment. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys. That was so awesome.
Thank you both for hosting us so much. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
too, Erika.
Much love. Much love. Round of applause for you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause if you haven't already. Do it. Do it.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh man. Yo, Erika, that was awesome.
It was really something very special. And I'm really excited for what we have next, because we have another group of the actors that really brought this world to life. We have Dominic Gould, who is Todd Williams, who I promise is the nicest person in real life. We have Audrey Bostani, who was Alice, and as well as Emma at the beginning in the demo. We have Barbara Weber Bostani, who is Chloe. We have Christopher Bosch, who was Jerry, and Ben Lambert, who was Simon and Daniel. And of course, our friend David Cage. Come on out, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Guys.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Hey, there he is. Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? How's everybody feeling? Everyone joining us from home. Is everybody nice, cozy, holding up well during these times?
Yeah.
All good.
Yep. All good. So nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going stir crazy actually. I love how everyone else is like, yeah, I'm all good. It's all great. I love.
The nice thing to say, when you're just like in these round tables. But thank you. I appreciate your honesty, and that is one of the things that makes you a fantastic performer, Ben, is your honesty and vulnerability.
Thanks, Erika. Yeah, I forget that's what I'm meant to bring to the parts, but during interviews or when you're like, getting some ice cream from a store and someone says, "How are you?" You go with a "all good."
Yeah. I love it.
No, I mean, yeah.
So it's been 2 years since the launch of the game. Do you remember moments from set that still stay with you? Let's start with Dominique.
Oh yeah, sure. Hang on, I think I'm muted. One sec.
No, we got you. You're here.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, the difficulty I had was that I was playing this very, very dark character, and I enjoyed that. Of course, it was a fun role to play, but I was also supposed to be playing with a young actress. I think she was 8 or 9 at the time, and it was the first time. I think it was her first time on set, and I was literally supposed to be shaking her, punching her, beating her as a Todd was not a very nice father. And so it was a difficult day of shooting because we had to, of course, this young girl, we had to give her trust and make her feel at home and welcome. And at the same time, explain that this was obviously just a game. We're just playing. And she seemed to understand that, of course. And then what happens, of course, is the first take. I go for her, pick her up, shake her, and scream at her. And she bursts out crying. And runs back to her mother off set. So, yeah.
But maybe I need to say something about this story is that Dominic had a very dark character with Todd, but at the same time, he's the nicest person on earth. And it is such a fantastic job. And yeah, we worked with 3 different little girls actually, and Audrey was here with us today. She recorded all the dialogues, all the lines were shot with Audrey. And it was really a fantastic also journey for all the team to work together and accompany these young actresses on the way of working on such a game. But also with Dominic, we did something absolutely fantastic, which was to do table read for all the dialogues in the game, and we spent a lot of time really reading the game aloud with him being an actor and trying to improve the dialogues as we were moving on in the game. So all the dialogues have been read with Dominique and with Adam Williams, the lead writer, to rework all the lines and make them work. So yeah, Dominique, fantastic actor, because he could be so dark as an actor, but at the same time be so different in real life. And that's a good thing that you're so different in real life, because that would have been scary.
It helped us on that day, at least. Yeah, I can say that.
Audrey and Barbara,
you have so much range.
Yeah, chat is saying like they felt that it's so hard to play such a terrible evil villain and sort of get into that space and be so different from yourself. And they all
No, it's so easy. It's so much fun. It's the best thing in the world. That's what I think. That's why I have to thank David. I mean, because it's only in a game like this. It's only in a game like this where you can actually you have that freedom. Because I don't get cast in that kind of role usually. I don't know why, but and it's just it's so much fun. There's so much to chew on, and you can go places you knew you would never go, and it's all it's all make believe. It was incredible. It wasn't always easy because David is a very demanding director. He doesn't do 2 takes. He doesn't do 7 takes. He doesn't do 15 takes. He does about what? I think we did about 30 takes of that one scene where I'm raging downstairs before I go upstairs to grab little Alice. But it wasn't always easy, but it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun exploring that.
Yeah, it's true. I like to do a lot of takes because I'm sorry, Erika, just a quick thing. I like the idea that when you repeat an action, sometimes it's not true with all scenes and with all lines in all contexts, but sometimes when you repeat the action, the actor ends up forgetting completely that he's acting. It becomes a second nature, and it works with some actors. It doesn't with others. It really depends. But I need to have a take where I feel this is it. This is exactly the moment I can believe in, and sometimes it takes some takes. It's true.
Oh yeah.
But Audrey and Barbara, we discussed earlier, you both had sort of an emotional time of it for your scenes together as well. Because Barbara, in addition to being Chloe, was also Emma's mother at the beginning. So you two got to have scenes together.
Well, not exactly, because she was up on the roof with Ben, and I was down.
Oh, you get taken out crying, by the way, after yelling at her. That's right. But you were there on set watching your daughter be threatened.
Fall off the building.
Yeah. Well, she was having the time of her life. She was in that kind of swing.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was so fun. Like between takes, I would just swing back and forth because, I mean, it's a little heavy for Ben to carry me just with one arm. So I was attached with a harness. It was so fun.
But and there was such a caring atmosphere on this set that when they said, yeah, well, the character might not make it, and I'm thinking, okay, this is my daughter we're dealing with, and then you would come home after Alice and you would be like, so how many times did Alice kind of not make it today? And she would be like, I don't know, about 15 or something like that. But there was such a caring atmosphere on this set that I knew that she's having the time of her life, and I could really trust this team with her completely, because she was having such a great time.
Yeah, I was having so much fun. It was super nice, and everyone was super nice. Between some difficult scenes, there were some snacks, a break where we would eat snacks and everyone would be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And like just everyone was super super nice to me, and I had a great time. It was really good experience.
Oh, I love it. So cute. I can't with it. I love it. Yo, that's so cool that you guys were able to together channel so much emotion and to see it conveyed and play out the way it did. It was just so great. So great. Chris, I want to jump to you, man, because you've been sitting there and I've been wanting to hear from you. If I'm not mistaken, this was your first time doing mocap, right? This is your first time? How was that?
Yeah, it was scary. I had never entered into that kind of work before. But the team, like Aubrey was saying, everyone was just so nice, and it's so easy when the team is on board to help you, and they were just so kind. Everyone was so lovely and honest, and David was, the writing was so great. I was in the best hands possible, and I artistically, it was one of the most exciting jobs I've ever done. Going into a room, I think Pascal was saying it earlier, you walk into this lab and you, the artist, just have to do it. You have to be in the moment. And I remember there's a carousel scene and I had to turn the carousel on, but they used a broomstick, and it was just living in that kind of world that I'd never done that. But just go for it. And we did it, and it was great. They were so lovely. It was a really, really wonderful job. Very grateful to be a part of it.
And you had the challenge of having to play a bunch of different Jerrys as well against yourself.
Yeah. It was great. But again, the support from the team, they made it so easy. And again, the writing, it was so easy. It's really difficult, but when you're surrounded by such a wonderful team, it really is the easiest thing to do. So thank you for helping me through it.
Yeah, it was a crazy challenge because he was supposed to play a crowd of himself, basically. So there were many different Jerrys, as you can see in the game, in this park. And sometimes he was starting a line with one character and he was supposed to continue with another. And we really played with all this. But it was so funny to see so many different iterations of Christopher's face somehow. And I think he delivered such a fantastic performance. I mean, he really made the Jerrys alive, and it was really, really a lot of fun to direct.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's so funny hearing you talk about, your first experience with mocap and the broomstick, because I feel like a lot of people from the outside, they don't realize how much of an imagination it takes to put on that suit and to act out those scenes around you. Ben, I want to get you in on this too. Oh, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Jump in.
No. I was just going to say, you're used to having a set or props or costume to help you get into that world, and you don't. And you just have to use your imagination. And as an actor, it just helps you come to life. It's a wonderful way of working. Sorry, I'll shut up. Go on to Ben.
Oh, no, don't shut up, please. You guys keep talking. The fans want to hear you say everything you have to say. Ben, how was the experience for you, man? You had some stunts.
I had some stunts. Do you know what? I didn't have that many stunts. The one thing I had to do was with Audrey. I think most of the exciting stuff, probably David will correct me if it's wrong, but Neil probably did anything really exciting that Simon did. But as Daniel, Audrey and I spent a long time, as she said, doing all those deaths. And it was a lot of fun killing her. I can't believe it's been 2 years since I killed you so many times.
Yeah, it's been a while. Hi.
Hi. It's really nice to see you alive.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you too. We haven't seen each other since a long time.
Yeah, I remember when she came home after falling off the building, and she said it was the coolest thing ever when she first saw how the images,
the
animation of them falling off the building, and I was like, ah! And she was like, wow.
Yeah, like she was like freaking out. She was like, that's my daughter, and I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Like, yeah, I think because I
did just check actually a minute ago because I was wondering how long ago it was. I think it was like 2015 or maybe 2016, David?
Actually, Ben was one of the very first actors on this shooting because we started what was initially just a prototype of the hostage scene. Very early on, we usually do a scene as a prototype, and it was this scene. So Ben came very, very early, and then we called him back to do more of Daniel, and then he was doing also Simon. So we shot together, I would say, probably in 2 or 3 sessions total.
Yeah, because I came back when you, when Jesse, Minka, and Parker, and we had this like the 4 of us. We did this really intense time, and we did that whole storyline really in a very intense period. But you were saying earlier, we were talking about the Audrey's deaths, Alice's death. Sorry, not Audrey's death. Audrey is thankfully still alive. But that moment of like hanging you over the edge of the building, I said to David, "Can I do this kind of thing?" And David's like, "Yeah, that's great. Do that." Like, and but there's something like as a kind of as Chris was saying, like you're like a child because nothing's there. It's all your imagination. So you're in pajamas with dots on your face, and everything's, David has written this great script, but essentially it's all coming to life in that moment. But even though obviously I'm not an android, or if it's not obvious, I'm just going to clear that up now. Something about the fact that I couldn't hold Audrey myself with my arm. Look, you can see here. I don't have the bicep for it, but as an actor, you're like, I want to actually be able to do it. But whilst the game takes years and years to develop, as an actor, you come on board and you're there to take part. And just particularly in this world, I really have so much admiration for all the work that goes into developing this game. As David said, to have appeared at early on as one of the first actors, and then later on, you're like, wow, these guys work so hard on this for so long, and you come in and just do a little bit. But anyway, just to finish this point, and then I'll shut up. There's something disappointing about not being able to be that strong that I can hold an 8-year-old girl, not off a building and threaten to kill her, but like in one arm. Like I'd like to be able to hold an 8-year-old girl or anything that heavy. I could probably hardly even hold this cup of tea for that long. I want a part. I don't know if, David, you could do this in the next game, maybe where you could give me a sort of lead-in time, and then I'd have a target and say, you need to be in this kind of shape. Because doing it for the hell of it, I don't know. I'm not one of those people. Anyway, that's it.
So we found a solution. We found a cable to hold Audrey, and so it was no effort for Ben. He could just open his arm and hold us. He was that strong. But we know, Ben, that you're not that strong now. We have to prove. But I would just like
you said, it will be next time.
Able to do it in real life, you could still in the end, it looks like you really did it. So
that's the magic that's created on that set.
That is the magic, right? And also, as well as David's and all the game developers' work, I'm so much more handsome in the game. And I know it's been mentioned already, but the fan art of me, I'm almost ashamed to post on social media because I'm like, oh my God, the fan art version of me, is so much better than the real me.
I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem.
That's not true. That's not true.
Dominic, you are extremely handsome in real life, so this is the issue.
Well, a quick word, if I can say, the great thing is that it wasn't even me.
Yeah,
I had the great fortune of having Gabriella's face. That's Chloe. It wasn't my face. And that's a real improvement.
I would just like to say a quick word about Audrey and Barbara. Audrey did an amazing job. You know that shooting with children, especially when they're like 9, 10 years old, is always a huge challenge. And there was also a lot of text, very difficult lines. She had a lot of scenes where she cried, and that was incredibly challenging for any actress. Even if it would be an adult actress, it would be a real challenge. But Audrey did a fantastic job as an actress, and I think that Barbara and Mother did a fantastic job at helping Audrey, rehearsing the lines, coaching her. And honestly, I don't think I could have done it without Barbara's help. But it's all Audrey's talent, and I'm really thankful for what they both did on this game. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. That's nice. I think she did most of it herself, to tell you the truth. I just got out of her way. No, you haven't. That's on tape.
Was there a scene that was particularly challenging, Audrey, or?
Well, there was a lot of scenes. There were a lot of scenes that were hard because, well, I'm very emotional. My character is really emotional, and she's going through a lot. She goes through a lot in the story. So, I mean, it was hard to sort of like express those feelings because I've never experienced that, thank God. But it was really hard to, put myself and, well, sort of pretend to be someone else. Well, not really, but, I had to do all these emotional scenes and, like, it was really hard because, well, I've never, experienced it. I'm just repeating myself. But anyways, I don't really know what to say. But yeah,
But you got through it because you were able to sort of imagine yourself in that position,
Yeah, I get it.
We talked about things that were important to her and stuff.
Yeah, and like to cry. I think actors use something to cry. Like sometimes they imagine something that is sad to them, so like it makes them cry. Well, I did that, so it was easier, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Channeling
and I think
emotion,
the relationship,
finding something from inside.
I think the relationship with the actress playing Kara, who is Valerie Curry, also worked incredibly well. I mean, they also had a real relationship. We were talking about the relationship between Brian and Clancy on stage, but I had something similar here between Audrey and Valerie. And I think it really shows in the game. And one last thing, I mean, I don't want to spoil the game for anyone, but of course, if you played the game, you know that maybe Alice is not exactly who she pretends to be. And that's a secret that we kept for Audrey for a long time on set. We didn't want her to know the truth about the character. We wanted really to act as if she was just this little girl, and it worked very well.
It's a good thing they told me, though.
But yeah, to bring up what you just said, Valerie and I, we had like a really, really good chemistry. And there's one scene that's like really, really moving. Like, I don't think I want to spoil, but in one scene, I die, and before dying, I call her mom. And it was super emotional, and I actually I think we both shed tears. It was super, really moving and emotional, and it was because I really felt it because acting with Valerie was really, really great, and I really learned to love her and kind of see her as a second mother in a way because she took care of me the whole time we were filming, and she was just so kind to me. It was amazing. So. I wasn't really acting when I said it, I guess. I mean, all the really cute scenes weren't really acting because, I really love her, and it was such a good experience. And I got to meet a lot of really cool people on set, and especially Valerie. It was great. It was really great.
Yeah, and Valerie and Audrey, they made us cry. I mean, they made the whole team cry a couple of times. I mean, they had so emotional scenes. I mean, I remember one time, I mean, they were just playing their scenes, and I looked around me, and everybody was crying on set. I said, what are you doing? We work. But the scene was so moving, and that it really moved the entire team.
Well,
Thank
I
you
think
so
I speak
much.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Erika, go ahead, take it.
Go ahead, Malik. I just thank you.
No, I
Thank you
was
so
gonna
much
say,
for
I
those.
think Yeah. I think I speak for everybody when I say that you guys are awesome and we enjoyed your performances. So I'm just gonna go down the line. Dominic, Audrey, Barbara, Christopher, Ben. Thank you guys so much. Erika, I wasn't sure if there's anything you wanted to add while we have everybody here.
No, it was just that. It's thank you so much for those relationships that you built on camera and for sharing with us the relationships off camera. We see how much, like, why all of those on camera relationships worked because of the chemistry and the trust and the communication that happened behind the scenes. So thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Hopefully we can have you all
Thank
back
you so
for
much
some
for
more
having us.
details. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You guys,
Thanks.
take care, guys. Take care. Oh man, so good.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
I love listening to people talk about the process and about behind the scenes and like share what those experiences meant to them. And I hope that for future Quantic streams, we're going to get to like delve into like sort of like one-on-one talks about all of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's crazy hearing about how they channel that emotion and just the adjustments to working in a mocap studio and things of that nature. I love it. I love the war stories. Guys, if me and Erika continue to talk over each other, it's simply because we're streaming online from our houses. And sometimes there's a little bit of delay, so please excuse us on that. This is live. Just thought I'd remind you guys if you didn't know. But as you can see, we just got finished with our Detroit Become Human 2nd anniversary chat, which was awesome. Got to talk to all the actors and stuff. And we're getting ready to move on to something pretty cool here. Right, Erika?
Yeah, that's right. Of course, we're going to have the giveaway at the end. So if you're not on Twitch, please join us on Twitch. You need to follow in order to be eligible to win. We have My Quantic Story, which we will explain to you in a bit. We're going to be playing Detroit Become Human, the community play, again, here on Twitch with Brian and Amelia. But first, we have a little surprise for you.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy 18.
Agent Norman Jaden, FBI. Now, if you're looking for rain, dead bodies, and highways, you come to the right place.
My name is Scott Shelby. I'm a private detective. The families of the victims of the origami killer asked me to investigate the murders.
Ever since I was born, I've been linked to an entity. His name is Aiden, and he's always with me. Oh, fuck! Tell them to leave me the fuck alone, because next time, I'll kill everyone.
Don't come any closer or I'll jump! My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife.
It's firing at everything that moves. It already shot down 2 of my men. We could easily get it, but if it falls, she falls.
Oh, yeah.
So that is available now.
Yo, that's so dope. That's good news. Such good news. I think we should talk about this with the team, though. I feel like they're probably the better people to hear from. So let's go ahead. We're going to bring David Cage back with Greg and Marlene Rasheer as well. Guys, this is big news right here that you guys just unveiled to the world. Why don't we go ahead and delve deeper into this? You guys tell us everything about this announcement that we just saw. Starting with you, David.
Oh, we are so glad to on Steam on June 18th. It's really great news. I know that many people expected this game on Steam for a very long time, so we listened to them. We're really glad to announce that here it is. You can play the game. You will be able to play the game on June 18th. The second major information is that there are free playable demos available right now as we speak that you can download of the 3 games right now on Steam. So if you are sure that you are going to enjoy the games, don't play the demos. If you are not sure, please try the games, because sometimes people have misconceptions about what these experiences are. Try the games and see by yourself. They are free. you can just try the games and see what you think. And and there's also a wish list in Steam. Well, you know Steam better than I do. So please, I hope that you'll enjoy the demos and enjoy the games.
In order to optimize
Erika.
game performance. Oh, hello?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we lost you for a
Can you hear me
minute.
now?
We're good.
Okay. Well, so to reiterate, we got a question from Track Thugga asking, are you planning to release new patches for Detroit Become Human in order to optimize game performance? But can you in generally address sort of the graphic updates that you're doing for this?
Yeah, so what I can tell, and I will start with thanking the team that worked on the PC ports, and especially the 3D Engine team, because they've been working on optimizing the game for the past weeks, especially focusing on graphics processor performance. So these improvements will definitely be part of the Steam release that will go in June.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was something important
cool.
for us to have a game that would run on very high machines, that would be 4K and 60 frames a second on very high-end machines, but also work on different types of configurations so anybody can enjoy the games. Detroit especially was particularly demanding because the game was really optimized for PlayStation 4. And the engine team did a wonderful job at improving and optimizing the game to make it run on lower configurations on PC.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you said that, David, because I actually want to talk about that a little more. I played all the games on PS4, and I thought they were great. So bringing them over to PC, there's so many more limitations that you guys can push to the side, so many barriers that you can break. Gregory, what were some of the challenges of porting this game from PS4 to PC?
Well, other than, as Marlon was saying, the technical, like the graphics and making sure that it looks beautiful and can run everywhere. I think the other big thing that we did was to basically adapt the game to run on, to be playable on a keyboard and a mouse. And because we wanted, when we released the game on PC, to be very much playable by people who are used to play with a keyboard and a mouse, because that's the most hardcore PC players. And so what we did was to basically, because like as I think Pascal mentioned that earlier in the stream, in the games that we do, it's not so much about what you do, it's about how you feel when you're doing it. And the big process that we did was really, instead of just saying, okay, we're going to take the controls from the PS4, we're going to just say, okay, now triangle is going to be, I don't know, Q, and circle is going to be D. We really thought about looking at everything that was in the original game, all the weird interaction that maybe you remember when you were doing some weird stuff with your pad and you were pushing multiple buttons at the same time, and look at those things, try to ask ourselves, how do we feel about it? And really try to look at the keyboard and mouse and say, how can we recreate that feeling on PC? So it was very much recreating and remastering the entire experience in a way that can feel cool for people who discover the game on PC, but also can feel like, even myself, I played the game on PS4 like a bazillion times. I know the games inside out, but replaying it on PC was a nice way to, rediscover the controls and stuff like that. So it was very something worth checking out. And it was a nice process to do, for sure.
So one of the gameplay aspects that I really enjoyed was in Beyond Two Souls, you can have a two-player aspect of the game. You can play through this story with two players. But Marlene, you said that there's like a new development for the Steam release for this.
Yeah, along with the Steam release will come a feature, Steam feature, which is called Remote Play Together, and it allows you to play Beyond with someone else, not without him having to sit next to each other. So you can play from home, and one is playing Jodie while the other one is playing Aiden, just like in the original Duomat. Just you don't have to sit next to each other. And I thought it was like really cool. even more regarding the situation, the context of the stay at home for everyone at the moment.
I really love that. That was one of the aspects that I really enjoyed about the game. And I played it on a date. It was great. Hot tip for all of you for all geeks dating.
What a good icebreaker.
It is. It's like that's how you know if you're going to get along with the person or not. Because boy, if they mess up your Aiden, like it's over.
So you were playing Judy,
it's
right?
really nice that we have this now that we're looking for ways to connect with each other. So
right.
And speaking of connecting, the community gets to come together for the Detroit Unity play. Greg, can you give us a couple details about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm really excited about because that's something we've been thinking about for a while. You and both of you at the beginning of the stream, like every time you're playing the game on stream or even with people, there's always this thing where, there's one person playing the game and there's like 10 persons around just shouting like, just do that or do this. And this is something really cool. And especially when the game was released and the game was on Twitch and there was like, or other streaming service, but on Twitch, like we could see like some streamers have tens of thousands of people following at the same time and reacting and just being like very involved in the story. And what we were thinking is that how can we bring those people and make them participate into the journey? Like how can we make them the co-pilots in a way, like of the streamer? And that was something that we really thought about, and we designed that extension that's going to be available. Check my on DetroitCommunityPlay.com. The extension is released on June 18th. So you only need that extension if you want to stream the game to your community. And how does that work is that if you are streaming the game with that extension, on key moments during each scene, there's going to be polls and small questions that are going to appear on the screen of every one of your viewers. And there's going to be the question and some answers. And you just, as a viewer, click on the one answer that you think is correct. And you have a few seconds to do that. And at the end, there's going to be a vote, and the streamer will follow the community decisions, basically. So it's really cool. It will let us like play Detroit at thousands of people at the same time, which is mind-blowing to me. And it's something that you can download. It's free because we really I think it's something that we wanted to do most of all to thanks everybody, thanks the fans that have been there. We talk about them and we cannot stop talking about them, to thank everybody who's been supporting the game and, supporting the crazy things that we do. And, like whatever the circumstances, we want to keep playing together, and we are so happy about that. So, DetroitCommunityPlay.com, June 18th, sorry.
DetroitCommunityPlay.com. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's so awesome that everyone can join in and play together. I do know that there's been many occasions where I'm playing those games and everybody's just typing in the chat. They're just typing. So now they actually have a call to action and something they can do, and they can be a part of the experience even more, as if Quantic Dream games weren't immersive enough. Now you can play the game,
and what we
essentially. That's awesome.
Yeah, what we wanted to do is also that the question is not just about like giving directions to the streamer. It's also like there will be some questions. There will be like 150 questions, like a lot. And we some of them will be about giving the direction or choosing like what to do in the scene, but some of them will be more about like what do you think about a certain character, like or a certain event, or like how does some of the theme of the game relate to you. And that's something that we really wanted to do, because in a way that community was not built of just playing the game. It's also built on how the game relates to us and how everybody has such incredible voice. So that's a way for us to reach out to that. So yeah, super exciting.
So cool. Well, Gregory, thank you so much, man, for giving us the details on Community Play. And thank you to Marlene and David as well for just telling us everything about the games coming to Steam on June 18th. We got plugins. The demo's available now, so go check it out. If you haven't played the game, if you want to know if you like it or not, go check it out. It's there for you. And also, you can add it to your wish list on Steam as well. I should mention that For those of you who aren't familiar with Steam, throw it in your wish list. Throw it in there. But guys, thanks again. We're gonna go ahead and keep things moving, though, if I'm not mistaken. Erika.
Right. Out.
What's that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's try it out. Let's try it out now.
Let's try it out.
Right now.
And we're going to be welcoming back America's sweethearts, Brian Deckhart and Amelia Rose Blair, to play some Detroit Become Human community play with you.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey. What's up, y'all?
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Thanks for having us back. We're excited to try out this community play. We have streamed Detroit Become Human on our own Twitch channel since it was released 2 years ago, and we used the chat functions and some special emotes on our channel to drive our decision making, but with, of course, the slight delay from streaming and all the other things, this extension is going to make it super, super smooth for everybody who's here with us on twitch.tv/Quantic Dream to play along with us. So we're going to play the hostage demo, which is now available on the Steam store to download for free right now. And let's load it up. And we're going to need your help to determine what choices we should make along the way.
So the really cool thing about this is that you get to click right on the screen to cast your vote.
Yep. Let us know when you'll see the prompt pop up, and it will work on mobile or desktop. Here we have Connor blinking all the way up to the 70th floor.
1994.
Yep, there he is. 313-248-31. Oh,
so handsome.
31751, reporting for duty.
Negotiator on site.
Here we are. Look at this beautiful game. I'm so pleased that so many people are going to get to join us and play the game for the first time now that it's available on Steam.
Yes.
And let's go, PC players. Let's check this out. Who we got to find? What's going on here?
Emma looks a lot like Alice.
I wish there was more information to determine the best approach. All right, we need to get back. This is where we're working. We can't delay our...
Yeah, we have to do the most important thing in the game.
This is probably the most important thing to do in the game. Yes. Right here, a very important decision. What are we going to do with this Dwarf Gorami? It is named Dewey, apparently, origins in India, and you can click on the screen right now. We have 15 seconds. You can help us decide if we should save the fish. Click yes or no. I'm not surprised to see so many of you responding this way. 5 seconds left. Connor can't make up his mind. Should he save the fish or no? Yes. 92% of you say, let's save the fish. Let's save the fish. Mission successful. The crowd goes wild. The fish is saved. There you go. Swim on. This is one of the first things we filmed on set, actually, and we filmed it with a little piece of cardboard with an orange piece of tape on it, and that was the fish. That's working at Quantic Dream. Who's this?
Oh, please, you gotta save my little girl. Wait. You're sending an answer.
I'll do my best. I don't know.
Do that.
Why aren't you sending a real person? Okay, so it's so cool knowing that is actually a mother-daughter situation going on. I had no idea.
Yo, very cool. So we use the keyboard now, of course, instead of the controller, and we can make a right-click to look at our objectives. Find Captain Allen. Let's go find this guy. Game's looking beautiful. We're playing it in 60 frames per second right now. Wonderful to return here after so many visits. Let's go in to this setup. Here we go. The SWAT are gathered around. They just don't believe it. I gotta talk. Captain Allen, my name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
It's firing at everything that moves. It already shot down 2 of my men. We could easily get it, but they're on the edge of the balcony. If it falls, she falls.
I don't know.
Has it experienced an emotional shock recently?
I haven't got a clue. Does it matter?
I need information to determine the best approach.
Let's get more information.
Have you tried its deactivation codes?
The first thing we tried. Listen, saving that kid is all that matters. So either you deal with this fucking android now, or I'll take care of it.
Probability of success, 48%. All right. We're gonna need to come up with an approach here. What should we prioritize in our approach? Should we find the hostage now, check the victims, or look for clues? What do you guys think? We have 10 more seconds to make a decision. Let's go over here. We can analyze things. It looks like you're leaning towards finding clues and checking the victims. Let's check this one out here while we're looking at the clues. Smart. So we right click. Or, left click. Living for it. Black Hawk. All right, 71% of you are saying, let's get clues. Being a detective, I like your style.
We need information to determine the best approach.
Let's reconstruct what's going on here. So now using A and D, we can scrub through to reconstruct and see if we can get some more clues here. What's going on up here? The deviant took the father's gun. All right, well, if he's taking the father's gun, that means time is of the essence. Let's keep things moving along. What other clues could we possibly find? Our chance of success is going up. We're at 51% now. That's a good sign. Let's go investigate this little girl's room. The hostage's room. What was she listening to? I don't listen to music as such, but I'd like to. She's not a fan of Knights of the Black Death, but we'll introduce her later. All right, so there's something else on her table here. Looks like she's got a tablet. We can play. It's Ben Lampert. I know him. All right, he goes by Daniel. That's going to be important. We'll probably be able to use these clues to, get closer. 60% probability of success is going up.
So there was some serious gunshot action.
Definitely a shootout. There's glass all over the floor. All right, here's
a dead body.
Oh, a dead body. We're gonna have to check this out because 15% of you said let's check on the victims, so let's do it. Analyzing the clues. Oh man, bullet wound in the upper lung. That's gonna be hard to recover from.
Yeah.
What do we
In the
get?
gut.
Oh, yeah, in the lower lung. Things are not looking good. Let's see if we can get an ID on this guy. Deceased, clearly. John Phillips. He was 6 feet tall while he stood. Now he's really around 1.5 feet tall. What else? We got one more bullet wound. Oh, to the kidney, and that'll really put you out of the game. Let's reconstruct. Scrub through this, and I love this. I'm feeling like I'm Batman right now.
Yes.
Get some clues. What was he holding? Can rewind and search for a clue. He was holding a, wait for it, blasted through the air. Let's land it over there in the corner. It is. This looks like another tablet. There's a further clue. Let's investigate.
iPad.
Tab out of that. Over here, scope it out. Take that. Huh. An AP700. The Deviant was going to be replaced by a newer model. That would be a real pain, wouldn't it?
Thanks you for your purchase.
Too soon. All right, everybody. Yes, you can check out the extension if you're playing with us on Twitch. We are streaming on many platforms right now, but Twitch is the place to vote. All right, we got one officer down here. Let's analyze this because we are here prioritizing looking for clues based off your recommendations. All right, so, this guy's in bad shape too. Bullet wound straight to the heart.
Ooh.
And he was holding a gun. There's residue here, only one shot fired. He didn't do so well. It didn't last that long. What was this guy's name? Oh, Police Officer Deckard. I like that. Thanks, Quantic Dream. All right, let's see what we can find out with the reconstruct here. Going through. Down here. Oh, there's a shootout right here. And the hostage witnessed the shooting.
And lost her shoe.
And lost her shoe.
Cinderella.
Cop shot the Deviant. But then boom, bam, boom. Something else. Another clue over here. A clue! A clue, a clue. The weapon is located. All right, let's go investigate this. Our chance of success has gone up to 71%, just like you guys voting to find clues, what's under the table, but the officer's service revolver. Collecting data. All right, this is forbidden. According to the Androids Act of 2029, androids are strictly forbidden to carry or use any type of weapon. What should we do, Chad? Should we take it or put it back? I don't know. Introducing a weapon into this situation could make things worse for us, but maybe you guys are deviant, so let's break the law. Taking it. Yep.
Looking a little guilty there, Connor.
Looking a little guilty indeed. Let's see if we can find any other clues while we're around.
Checking to see if anybody saw. I did not take that gun. Not at all.
Oh, the deviant androids on the roof. This is literally happening right now. We should stop lollygag. We need to get out there. We need to go. He's right there. They were cooking something. Oh, I should turn off that stove. I am designed to protect human lives. The family was about to have dinner. Right.
It is time.
Let's get outside. Oh, sweet. All right, we dropped out.
Oh, no.
That's, yeah, we're going to hope that relaunches smoothly. There we go. Yo, the stakes are so high, Erika. What are we doing? We're,
I feel like
we're about to jump.
I was just like, we were gonna do it. We were gonna for sure like save everybody. Everything was gonna turn out great. We gathered all the evidence. Chad had done exactly what they needed to. A reminder to everybody that we are live and we on our end with our streaming program, are working through, technical issues perhaps. But oh my gosh, so far, that was pretty easy to navigate all of that. And everybody, that was quick. Like normally you guys have to stop down while you're waiting for decisions from people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the coolest thing to me about the extension is that it's happening in real time immediately with the playback. So I have a dashboard here on my side, and it's DetroitCommunityPlay.com, which will load up. All of the answers are coming in real time, just like when you do a poll extension or a feature on Twitch, which we use in other circumstances. We poll our community a lot of times. I love to retweet to poll.
Yes.
But the simple truth is having it built into the game and then you link it up with your profile. So if you're playing on Twitch, you have your username and everything logged in, and everybody who's on your channel with you can participate by clicking on the screen.
Yo, it's so cool. It reminds me a lot of the Twitch plays and all those games, but it's just way cleaner, and their interface actually fits in with the game, which is crazy to me. They did a lot of work on it.
Yeah, that part is really cool. It's definitely a really fun way to get to play with the community.
Yeah. And everybody who is interested, it's going to be available on June 18th, I believe, which is the same day that the game is going to be re-released on Steam. We are going to be playing it as well on our Twitch channel. So if you guys would like to join us, we'd love to have you on Deckard Games. We're going to do a celebration of the re-release, the Steam release. People have been asking for this game on Steam for a long time, so I know there's going to be a ton of very, very satisfied Steam gamers getting to check out this game. Steamers checking out the game in 60 frames per second. It's beautiful.
Steamers.
Is that a thing that people call?
I have a steamer right now. I would just.
Any sort of hints about what people can expect from this playthrough? Because normally you guys will do like, oh, we're gonna do like a sort of a deviant Connor or like a rule about or non-deviant Connor. Like, is this going to be a straight up like we let everybody vote on every decision Connor run?
I think that's a good idea. When working on the game, we played, or I used the color coordinating the script. So for me, there's a blue Connor who's effectively your original Connor. The red Connor is your full machine Connor playthrough. So I know a bunch of different people have done playthroughs where they play the game in different ways. We have always kind of been leading that, even though the chat has been helping us determine what to do with Kara and with Marcus. So I think what we'll probably be doing in this next playthrough is entirely depending on the chat, everybody who's there with us on the stream. And if we want to toggle back over to it, I've got the game back up. We can finish the hostage negotiation on the rooftop.
Negotiator on site.
Let's do it.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
get it. Let's
All right, we
get
got
it. We can do this. We can do this. All right,
I'm gonna do it without some
everybody get
clues.
ready. We're gonna save that little girl. Maybe.
See if we can toggle back.
Or are we? Are we going?
My name is Connor.
There he is.
What about you? What is your name?
Daniel.
All right.
That's the name they gave me. Stay back!
So I need your help to determine which approach are we going to take here, guys. We have 3 or 4 different ways we can play this. 3 more seconds left to vote. And help me determine what should we do? How are we going to deal with this android?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh. Okay, we want to calm him. We're calming the android based off 56% of your...
I'm an android, just like you. I know how you're feeling.
What difference does it make?
I can do
you're
this.
An android?
You can do it. You can do it.
You're on their side. You can't understand how I'm feeling.
I can calm you down. I can calm you down. I can be sympathetic.
Yeah.
Listen, everything's all right.
I know it's not your fault. These emotions you're feeling are just errors in your software.
No, it's not my fault. I never wanted this. I love them, you know? But I was nothing to them. Just a slave to be ordered around.
He's stabilizing though. Okay, we can let's talk to the hostage.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Emma?
Please help me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Nobody's going to
There's
die.
a guy down here.
Stay calm. Everything's going to be fine.
Officer down. I think this guy's still alive. There might be a chance to save him.
He's losing blood. If we don't get him to a hospital, he's going to die.
All humans die eventually. What does it matter if this one dies now?
I'm going to apply a tourniquet.
Don't touch him! Touch him and I kill you!
I know we want to calm him, but I love this line.
You can't kill me. I'm not alive.
Such a mood. Such a mood. Let's advance. 33%. Can we still do it?
All right.
From here?
Maybe realistic?
There's no way out, Daniel. What you've done is too serious. The only question is whether or not you take another innocent life.
It's not up to you! I'm holding all the cards. If I die,
I mean,
she dies. You hear me?
okay, we need to calm him down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow all of his other instructions.
I can't
I accept.
stand that noise anymore! Tell that helicopter to get out of here!
Okay. We gotta trust him. We gotta build trust.
There. I did what you wanted. You have to trust me, Daniel. Let the hostage go, and I promise you, everything will be fine.
I want everyone to leave! And I want a car. When I'm outside the city, I'll let her go.
That's impossible, Daniel. Let the girl go, and I promise you won't be hurt.
I don't want to die.
You're not going to die. We're just going to talk. Nothing will happen to you. You have my word.
I've spent my life taking orders. Now it's my turn to decide.
I think we gotta go. Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
So now we can check out the flowchart, of course.
Man.
But oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry what happened there.
We tried.
I've never seen her fall.
Really? It's a little shocking for sure.
We had to get a different ending. It was necessary.
We did our best, and you know what? Because of the community play, we're all responsible for what just happened
yes, you
here.
all share the responsibility in the tumbling android.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for playing with us, Brian and Amelia. Everybody please look forward to watching these two absolutely lovely humans streaming this coming up on their channel June 18th. Thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting us. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you soon.
Indeed. And guys, remember to check out DetroitCommunityPlay.com for more information on what you just saw, which was awesome. You okay, Erika? You good?
No, I'm not. I forgot. I honestly sort of had flashbacks to not only just playing it, but from when that demo dropped at E3. I forget what year it was, like 2016, something like that. And it rocked my world, and seeing it played again and in this context is just wild to me. So I look forward to the community play, and maybe I'll get to play it again with some input from friends.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how different Twitch communities play this game, because some communities might lean toward the good end and some might lean toward the more evil end of things. So we'll see. We'll know a lot more about people's communities pretty soon with this.
I can guarantee you that the Descartes Games community is going to be soft and wholesome all the way through. Yeah. Guaranteed.
For sure.
But speaking of communities, we were going to talk to you a little bit about My Quantic Story, which is an initiative that we're kicking off soon. And to tell you more about it is this video of David Cage. Take it away.
Since our first game 23 years ago, I've heard so many incredible stories from people who've played our titles. You've told me about your experiences and the choices you made, but also how the stories resonated with your own personal life, sometimes in many unexpected or very moving ways. You've made everyone at Quantic Dream incredibly proud to see how our games could be a source of energy, creativity, joy, and sometimes even comfort for you. Now we would like to hear more about your experiences with our games. Which one is your favorite and why? What has playing it brought to you? Can a game change someone? Did one of our stories have an impact on you, even if just a moment? We would like to give you the opportunity to express yourself by telling your personal story and by sharing it with other fans around the world. Okay, so how does it work? It is actually very simple. You record a video with your mobile phone or your computer. Make sure that we can hear you clearly and that the image is not too dark. Of course, you don't need to speak English, just speak in your native language. Because what matters the most to us is that you feel fully comfortable to tell us your story and to express yourself. Then you can upload your video here with your name and contact email so we can get in touch with you. The most inspirational stories will be shared with the Quantic Dream community worldwide. We can't wait to see your videos, and see you soon.
That is right there is awesome. I have some stories I definitely want to submit. But before we move on, let's welcome back David and Guillaume. Welcome back, guys. Great to have you here. We're going to talk about My Quantic Story a little more in a second. But first, we got to give away those 3 boxed editions of Quantic Dream games signed by the production team. I want to go ahead and remind everybody of the rules real quick. You have to be following or subscribed to the Quantic Dream Twitch channel. And after you do that, we're going to randomly select someone, and you're going to win one of these games. There's only going to be 3 winners. So everybody in there, hit that follow button if you haven't already. The subscribe button if you haven't already. And we're going to pick somebody real quickly here.
Yeah, and actually, it looks like it's changed over to just follow. Just follow, like you
Just
only
follow.
have to follow.
Just follow, yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna pick some winners from the chat, and right now I think Guillaume and David are gonna be signing those copies, so you can see right there. And yeah, since we have we'll have the names, we might be able to like personalize it. We'll see though. We'll see how it goes. Oh, we have no, not yet. Name of the winner or forthcoming.
I wish there was a drum roll. We had like a drum roll or something. Give me a drum roll, something. Yeah, lovely. Who will be the winner?
And a reminder too, you only get one entry. You only get one entry. We see you with your multiple Twitch account, with your Twitch alt accounts. But you know, what?
Go ahead, Erika. No. All you.
I mean, I guess, and while we're here, you know, while we have a second to like catch our breath, like I just want to say thank you so much, gentlemen, for all of this. Like, what can we expect from future Quantic streams if we know yet? David?
A lot of exclusive content, a lot of news, a lot of surprises.
Yeah, I mean, as I said at the beginning, we want to continue this direct relationship with our community and just open the doors of the studio to everyone. So we really hope that the next time we will be able to do this at the studio, all safe and in security, but hopefully directly at Quantic Dream. So I hope this is going to happen soon. So I would like also to thank absolutely everyone, all the actors who accepted to be a part of this, the team, of course, and also all the people who watch this live. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And of course, thank Erika and Malik for their passions with us and their enthusiasm and passion.
Oh, no, thank you guys for having us. I think I speak for both of us when I say this was an honor for us to be here and to join you. But I think we have our winners. So I will go ahead with the first winner of one of these boxed Quantic Dream games signed by the production studio is Von_X. That is spelled VOHN_X. Our first winner. Congratulations to you.
Winner number 2
You're going to get
is Alan for Ito. Congratulations.
Yeah, everybody throw some hype in the chat, some pog in the chat for these winners. I see it. I love it. I love the love that you guys are giving. Even if you didn't win, you're still showing love, and I love that. I love it. Last but not least, our last winner goes by the name of Homie Drew. Congratulations to you, Homie Drew. And David and Guillaume, if you don't mind signing the copies. I think you guys already signed them, right? Are you going to do it live for us? Or?
No, we're going to do it live.
Lovely.
Can you give me your copies, David?
It happen right here.
Trying to see if David can give me his copy.
Uh-huh.
Hand it over, David. Hand it
sure,
over.
No, it's the other side. Sorry, this side.
Thank you.
Here we go. Special effects. Special effects.
All right.
Are our 3 winners in the chat? Are they in the chat? Our 3 winners?
Oh,
I'm sure they're there somewhere.
Right, yeah. Okay, it's about that time to wrap up, Malik.
Man, I feel like we just started. That went by so quick. I guess before we get out of here, though, it would be nice if David and Guillaume can expound a little bit more upon that video that we just saw. Everybody giving their stories, their Quantic stories to you guys. David, do you have anything else you want to say about that to kind of elaborate on it for those who might not be familiar?
Yeah, since we released honestly Fahrenheit at each game, I hear so many great stories from gamers about what happened to them and how the game resonated with their own personal life, that I thought it was so sad that I was the only one to hear this. And I thought it would be great to allow people to express themselves and to share their experience and their feeling, and how the game influenced or played a role in their life, and just share that with the community. So it goes. It's not just about promoting Quantic Dream. It's not about that. It's mainly about showing how video games can play a role in people's life. And we all in this industry, we all hear the stories from gamers who tell us the story. It's just great now to allow them to share them widely with the community.
Yes, and please keep writing us, and do now send us videos, because I think it's Adam earlier who said that we are taking all the fan arts and we've created this huge board at the studio, which we get to every day. We're having our coffee breaks to look at them, and it's the same for the stories that you're sending us. We're putting them on the wall. We're sharing them with the team. We've decided recently to share once a week the most touching lines that we're receiving from our fans. It touches us a lot, and the entire team is always very eager to read, and now with the videos to be able to see how Quantic Dream stories are touching you.
Yeah, I would just like to add one thing. I mean, you guys are the reasons why we make games. I mean, it's and just reading your stories, receiving your messages, all this it plays a real role. Don't believe that we don't care. Whatever, we care a lot about this. This is the reason why we make games. So please continue doing it. Thank you so much. We share that with the team, and it's really supporting our work every day, and that's something we're incredibly proud of. So thank you so much for this. Please continue doing this. It's important for us. Hopefully it's important for you, and maybe it's important beyond Quantic. Maybe it's important for video games in general to show how they can be a part of people's life.
Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you for joining us for the stream. Thank you to all of the actors and the developers, and to all of you who participated and hung out with us in chat. This has been fantastic. Malik, it is always a pleasure getting to hang out and talk games with you.
Yeah, I know. It's always a pleasure. But people don't know we go back, so this has been great. It's been a great reunion.
A reminder to everybody to follow Quantic Dream on all the social media channels for updates and for future streams, everybody. And thank you so much. Everybody stay safe out there. I know times are difficult right now, but through story and through community, we've all been able to come together, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And I look forward to what we're going to create in the future.
Yeah, indeed. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Have a safe